Chapter 392. Okay. He took 2 pillows and put them behind Xueqi to make her more comfortable. Then he went to get her some porridge. Xueqi hugged the quilt, and her eyes couldn't help but be filled with tears.
Okay.
Looking at him, she
felt
felt
her
her
heart
heart
wrench.
took off her coat,
Li
and climbed
had
into
never
bed
been
to
so
put her
nice
arms
to
around
anyone's
his
neck.
before.
How
Even
come
his
you're
grandpa
awake?
had never been treated
He
like
turned
this.
around and hugged her,
He
whispering,
loved her.
"What did
However,
you say?"
she couldn't afford
I thanked
it.
him, apologized,
Xueqi left my phone number
bit the quilt
and
came
whispered.
back.
Okay.
He did not look back
Touching
and
her
responded,
forehead.
"Yes."
He glanced
His
at
voice
the time,
rose,
and there Are was you the joy hungry? of surviving a
Do you want
disaster in
something
his
to
deep
eat?
voice.
No.
Xueqi
I
heard
don't
his
have
joy
an
and hugged the
appetite.
quilt even tighter,
Then
calling
take
again.
the medicine.
Li Xiqing. Xueqi
Yes.
pouted, a bit unhappy.
He looked back at her and found
He
that she
lowered
was
his
already
head
in
and
pecked her on
tears,
the lips,
looking at
whispering,
him.
"Be
Walking
good."
over with the hot
She felt
porridge,
like she was
he
struck
gently
by
put it on the
lightning.
table and said
He
gently,
kissed her.
"It's
How
okay."
could he?
Don't
Covering
cry.
her mouth,
She
then he
widened
reached
her
out
eyes,
to wipe away
her
her
heart
tears
pounding.
like before.
He
saw that and
dodged
pinched her
and
nose.
buried her head in the quilt.
What reaction?
Her tears fell
It's
into
not
the
like
quilt.
we've never kissed
He
before.
thought she was scared
Getting
after
up,
the event.
he went to get
But
some
no,
water.
she was not afraid of
Checking
that.
the temperature.
Not.
He
Good
took out
girl,
a packet
eat
of
some
medicine
porridge.
and walked over with the
He
medicine
reached
in
out
one
and
hand
gently
and the
lifted
water
her
in the other.
face,
Scooped
Take
up a
it.
mouthful of porridge
Xueqi's
and put it
hands
to her
trembled.
mouth. Seeing the
Xueqi
water,
opened her mouth
her
and
eyes
drank it
became
gently.
even redder.
Her fever
She
had
opened
just
her mouth
subsided
and said
a bit,
in a trembling voice,
but she did not have a
"Mr.
good
Li,
appetite. It took
I
her
was
more than
raped by
10
someone
minutes
with
to finish the bowl
HIV.
of porridge.
Maybe.
Li
I
Xiqing
already
was
had
not
AIDS.
impatient at all. Don't
He
make
gave her
excuses.
another bowl and forced her
Take
to
the
eat
medicine.
it.
She forced
He
herself
poured
to
the
eat the
medicine
second
out.
bowl, but in the
Open
end,
your mouth.
she really couldn't eat anymore,
Xueqi swallowed
so he
the
gave
words
up and
and
put it
on the
aside.
tip of her tongue.
I need
She
to go
took
to
the
the
water
bathroom
and looked at the medicine.
Okay. Slightly dazed.
He picked up the
You
down
want me to
jacket he had
feed you?
brought for her and put it on
He
for her.
arched an eyebrow
Then
and
he lifted
approached
the
her
quilt and
dangerously,
carried her to the bathroom.
with my mouth. This was a single
No
VIP
way.
room with its
She
own
immediately
bathroom.
put the medicine in
After
her mouth
draining
and
the water
swallowed
out
it
of her
with the
body in
water.
the bathroom,
Sleep.
she opened the door,
He
and he
climbed
picked her
onto
up
the bed
and
and
walked
pressed her
back.
down.
I
The
haven't
bed was a
washed
bit
my
small,
hands yet, and it was a bit
Don't
crowded
get
for
wet.
2 people. There are wet
She could
towels.
not fall asleep
He
because
carried
she
her
had
back,
something on her
took
mind.
out a pack of wet
And
towels,
because Li
and gave her
Xiqing had
one.
slept for almost half an
Xueqi
hour,
blushed and
he was
slowly
also
wiped her
not
hands.
sleepy.
Dirty
Mr. Li,
guy.
now
Yes.
you are the dirty
If
one.
One
Li
day I
Xiqing
have a
arched an
terminal
eyebrow
illness
and didn't know
Will
whether
you still
to laugh
want
or
me?
cry.
Yes. How can you say
What
that
if I
about
get
me?
it soon?
She threw the
Yes.
tissue into the
I'm going
trash
to
can
die
under the bed
soon.
and looked at his
Li
forehead.
Xiqing
did not speak. What happened
He
to your
reached
head?
out
and lifted her
I
face.
accidentally bumped
The light
into
in the
it.
ward had been
He
turned off
reached
by
out
Li
to help her
Xiqing.
take off her down
The
jacket.
faint light from the glass on the
Lie
door
down
shone
a
into the
little
pair
longer.
of cold and deep eyes.
Xueqi
knew that he
making
was
them
trying
look
to
even
change
more
the subject,
magnificent and
so she pushed
bottomless.
him and questioned,
Then I'll
Can
die
you
with
pretend
you.
to be like this
The
if you're
voice
not
was
careful?
low and deep,
I'm
as if it was an
unlucky.
ancient voice that
I'm
had
bleeding,
traveled through
so I
thousands
can
of
only
years.
wrap it up.
It reverberated
His voice
in her
was
mind
calm,
and did not
but there was a
disperse for
hint of
long
helplessness
time.
in it. Xueqi's heart raced.
I'll just
have to believe
Her
it.
tears fell
However, she
uncontrollably.
still refused to take
She
off her coat
immediately
and said,
wiped her tears away,
fearing that they would fall on
saved
him.
me. Choking,
Yes,
she
I know.
asked, "Where is
Why?
he now?"
We are
He was
husband and
shocked.
wife. Silly girl.
I
heard he lost a lot of
He
blood
gazed
and
at
is in
her
the
with his
intensive
deep
care
eyes.
unit. I only
Yes,
have
I
you
went
as
to
my
see him.
wife.
He's
Without
better than you.
What's the point of living?
Xueqi lowered her head,
393.
put her arms around
After
his
the
waist
wound
and
was
cried.
treated and the
She
blood
could
transfusion
feel
was
the
done,
vibration of his
there was no
vocal
big
cords.
problem.
You think I'm
I want
lying?
to see him.
Li
Xiqing
Take
held
me
her in his
there.
arms
Last night
and told
when
her
he
head
thought
not
she was really
convenient.
killed, his heart
What's
was
not
empty.
convenient? The only thought in his mind was to be with her,
thought of
together.
something. She pouted and said, "What?"
Chapter
He is old enough to be
397.
my father.
Fortunately,
I won't
he
have
did not
anything
jump.
to do with him.
Fortunately,
Hearing
she
that,
was fine. Li Xiqing felt a little
leaned
helpless.
in his arms
and said in a muffled
He
voice,
reached out and pinched
"You
her
can
nose,
marry
saying,
again.
"In your eyes,
If I
am
die,
I this kind of person?
Will you marry again?
Isn't it?" I heard
Xueqi
that
was
his
dazed.
wife just arrived
Would
from
he?
the capital.
Would he? He has been in Kingstown for
If he
half a
really
month.
went ahead of her,
They must have a
she
lot
would
to
not
talk
hesitate
about
to
die with him.
Oh,
Her heart skipped a beat,
Xueqi nodded,
and she tightened her grip
Okay,
on him. Take me to see
She
him
loved him.
tomorrow. Loved him for 2
Okay.
lifetimes.
He
However,
agreed and reached
he
out
never
to
said
take
that
off
he
her
loved
coat.
her.
It
Sleep a
turned
little
out that
longer.
he had such feelings
I'm
for
not
her.
sleepy. Did he have such
Xueqi
deep feelings
pushed his
for
hand
her?
away.
Xueqi
How
hugged
long
him.
have you not
Tears
slept?
streaming down
Look
her
at
face.
your dark circles. She sniffed and
Touching
deliberately
his
said,
face,
she felt
of course
sorry for
you are
him.
dead. Come up
Why
and
should I
sleep for
stay
a
with
while.
you?
I'm
It's
not disgusting to stay with a dead
The bed
body.
is too small.
When she said
It's
this,
not small.
her heart felt like it
I'll
had been
sit
stung
for a
by
while.
thousands of bees.
No.
And the pain
She
was
wanted
beyond
him to
recognition.
sleep on the bed with her.
So when she died,
How about
you go back
go
to
and
sleep?
marry
Another one.
No.
Don't be with her.
Then I'll
Don't
leave
stay
the
with
hospital.
her. It's not worth it.
Let's go back together.
But Li Xiqing's hand was
No,
clenched tightly.
your fever
almost
hasn't
embedding her
completely
into his
gone down.
bones. You had a
He
high
whispered.
fever.
I don't believe
Xueqi
it.
flared up.
You won't.
Then what do you want?
I will.
Li
You
Xiqing
won't.
glanced at her and
Although
reached
his
out to
voice
touch
was
her
soft,
forehead. It was
With an
extremely
imperceptible
firm.
smile and affection in
Xueqi
his
did not
eyes,
speak.
he
He grabbed his
whispered,
collar
"You
and stared
sleep.
at the chest in
I'll
front
watch
of her in the
over
dark.
you."
although
No.
she could not
Then you
see
hold
anything.
my hand. After
I'll
a long
sleep
while,
next
she
to
said
you.
in a low voice.
No.
Nothing is
Then,
more important
how
than
about
yourself.
we sleep together?
There
No.
is.
Xueqi's
His voice
first
sounded
reaction was
above
to
her head.
refuse.
You are more important
I have
than
a cold.
myself.
I'll
His
pass it
voice
to
was
you.
light. I'm in good
Particularly
health.
beautiful in the
No.
quiet ward.
More importantly,
Xueqi
she was
buried her
very
head
likely
deeper,
to have AIDS
crying
now.
silently,
What if?
and closed her eyes.
That's it. However,
You sleep,
his
and I'll
heart
stay
was unable
here.
to calm down for the
You.
entire night.
Xueqi
next
was
3
annoyed
days,
and hit him.
Xueqi
Go
spent
back.
in the hospital.
I don't want
After
you.
the doctor checked to
He
make
held
sure
her
it was
hand,
not the flu
his
and
eyes
did not
darker,
relapse,
and his voice
she was
husky.
discharged. If you don't
Before
want
leaving
me,
the hospital,
who do you want?
Xueqi
You're
went to Rong
disobedient.
Haiyue's ward to see
You're
him.
also
Rong
disobedient.
Haiyue was also
I
ready to
haven't
leave
even
the
said
hospital,
that I don't want
dressed
you.
in casual clothes and
Xueqi
carrying
was
his own
speechless.
luggage.
Be good and
Xueqi
sleep.
did not see his legendary
Exasperated,
wife.
she took off
When
her
she
coat and
asked,
handed it to
Rong
him.
Haiyue's
Li
eyes
Xiqing
dimmed.
got what he wanted
He
and
said,
smiled.
He
Hanging
is
up her
busy
coat,
and has returned to
he
the
turned
capital.
around and saw that
She
she had moved to the
snorted.
side.
Li
leaving the
Xiqing was
seat
also
next to
very
her.
busy. Come
But
up
he
and
had been in the
sleep.
hospital with her these
Okay,
2
Mrs.
days.
Li.
However,
He took
he
off his
didn't
coat
say
and
anything,
shoes,
turned off the light and
Considerately,
climbed in.
he didn't ask
The
any more
moment he
questions
came up,
and walked
he
out of
pulled
the
her into his
hospital
arms,
together.
lowered
He
his
offered
head,
to drive
and was
Rong
about to
Haiyue
capture
to the
her
airport.
lips.
And Rong
Xueqi's
Haiyue did
heart
not
skipped a
refuse.
beat and immediately
After leaving
looked
the
away.
hospital, missing
She
the kiss,
subconsciously looked
Li
for Li
Xiqing
Xiqing's
kissed her
Maybach.
chin.
However,
I'm sick.
no matter how
You
hard he
can't
looked,
kiss me.
he didn't see
It's
anything
contagious.
similar to a Maybach.
I'm in
There
good
was
health.
a very flashy
I
and
don't
beautiful
mind.
super sports car
I
parked in
mind.
front of the hospital.
She moved away
looking
and
like
pushed
it was
his
waiting
face
for
away.
someone.
Sleep
Young.
well. Is the driver
Yes.
not here
Li
yet?
Xiqing put his
She
arm
turned her
around
head
her
and
waist
looked
and
at Li
closed his
Xiqing.
eyes comfortably.
Li Xiqing pointed
Perhaps
at
he
the
was
Bugatti
really
in front of
it,
him, and he soon
Coming.
fell asleep.
Xueqi
His
widened
breathing
her
was
eyes
even
in
and
disbelief
steady.
and asked,
Xueqi
"You
put
changed
her
your
hand
car?
on his face.
Don't you hate sports cars?" Perhaps because she was too hot.
Why did
He
you
felt
change
cold
to
when
this?
she touched him. For a change of mood, Yang got out of the
Chapter
car to open the door for
394.
them. After
Hearing
a long
what Li
time,
Xiqing said,
Xueqi
he
gently
pouted
removed his
inwardly.
arm and got out of
Stubborn.
bed.
The
It was
person in her
obvious that he
arms
had
was
damaged
empty,
the Maybach
and
and
he
changed
did not
it
wake
because
up.
it was too slow.
He was sleeping
He
soundly.
changed it to a supercar,
Xueqi's
and it
heart
was a
ached even
modified
more.
four-seater.
He must not
He
have
really
slept
did not
last
understand
night.
the world of the
Finding
rich.
that she was missing, he must have been worried. However,
Chapter
this could not be the
398.
case.
Because she was
stay with him
taking
all the
Rong
time.
Haiyue to the airport.
Putting on her shoes and coat,
Xueqi sat in the passenger seat.
quietly opened the
The
door
new
of the
car
ward
was
and walked
indeed
out.
fast and stable.
She was still worried.
Just sitting there.
After all,
Xueqi
Rong
felt her
Haiyue
blood
had
was
saved her
boiling.
life. Neither
If
of
she
the
did
two
not
men
see
in the
with her
back
own
seat
eyes
was
that he was
talkative.
fine,
They
she
were
would
both
always
looking
feel
out
a
of the
little
window,
uneasy.
and the
She
atmosphere
asked the
seemed a
nurse
bit
and soon
awkward.
found out where
On the
Rong
airport
Haiyue's
highway,
room was.
Xueqi
Following
finally
the
couldn't
room
help but
number,
ask,
Mr.
Mr.
Rong,
suddenly
do
saw
you
a
and your
woman
wife have
walking
children?
toward her.
This
Yes,
woman was
I
mature
have a daughter,
and charming.
the same age
She
as
was
you,
wearing a long
named
light
Anna.
green cheongsam
Anna?
and a dark green coat
Xueqi
made of
looked at
raccoon
him.
fur.
Rong
Her long
Anna?
hair was combed
You
into
know
a
her?
charming bun.
Bo Zhao's
Her face was
fiancé?
delicate and just right
Yes.
makeup,
Rong
and her
Haiyue
posture
was a bit
straight
surprised.
and slender.
You
She
know
was a
them?
very special
Yes.
woman.
I
and
saw her
also
once
a
at a
very
music
charming
conference
woman.
last time.
However, she
What
is a
caught
very beautiful
Xueqi's
girl.
attention
was not her
Thank you.
extraordinary temperament.
If she hears
but
you,
her face.
she will be so happy.
She had seen that face before,
Xueqi smiled
and not
and
just
looked
once.
out of the window. Rong
Li
Xian.
Xiqing glanced
That
at him
was
and
Song
said
Yifan's
calmly,
good days.
"You love your
The
daughter
love of
very
Shang
much."
Ximing's heart.
Yes, Xueqi's
She is my
impression of
only
her
daughter.
only stopped at the old
Li
photo
Xiqing
in
glanced
Song
at him
Yifan's
and
wallet,
did not speak,
which was a
His
vibrant
eyes
girl with
fell
a
on
flowery smile.
Xueqi.
She
No
never
one
thought
noticed
that one
Li
day
Xiqing's
she would
strangeness.
actually see the
Rong
real person.
Haiyue was holding
When
his phone
seeing
and
Xueqi
sending a
Xueqi,
WeChat message
the woman
to his
was
daughter,
obviously also
smiling
dazed and
more and more
recognized who she
widely.
was at a glance.
Soon,
They
Rong
arrived
Xian's
at the
expression
airport.
was a bit indifferent.
Xueqi was going
She
to take him
nodded
to the
slightly
gate,
at Xueqi,
but Rong Haiyue
but it was just a
declined.
polite greeting.
She could not insist.
In a flash,
so she
turned
walked
around
and got back in the
Xueqi
car.
in high heels.
Come to the back.
At the moment when she
Li
passed by her,
Xiqing waved at her,
Xueqi's
and she
heart was
obediently sat
instantly
over,
set off a storm.
holding his arm and
Rong
leaning on his
Xian.
shoulder.
It was
Li
not a
Xiqing
question,
noticed that
but
she
a
was not in a good
confirmation.
mood.
Rong
In the
Xian
past few
stopped and
days,
looked over.
it seemed that
Xueqi
had
thought
been
that
like
she would
this,
ask,
and nothing
"How do
had
you know my
changed."
name?"
Putting his hand on
Or,
her forehead,
"Do you
Li
know me?"
Xiqing whispered.
At the very least,
"Are you not
he would
feeling
ask,
well?
Who
He
are
was
you?
relieved that she
However,
did not
to
have a fever.
Xueqi's surprised.
Su Qianxi slapped his hand away
and shook her head.
Her voice
No.
was cold
In
and
a
distant.
bad mood?
Without
Have
any
you been in a
warmth.
bad mood these
She
days?
said,
Don't call
Su
me by that
Qianxi
name.
leaned on his shoulder
It's
and did not
disgusting.
speak. In the
After
past
saying
2
that,
days,
he turned
she had
around
indeed
and
been
left.
depressed and
Su
uncomfortable.
Qianxi was dazed
Go
and
to the
looked at her
first
back
hospital,
incredulously.
Li Xiqing
Watching
said to
her
Yang.
disappear at the
Then
corner
he
of the
turned
corridor.
his head and looked at Su
Indifference.
Qianxi.
It
I
was
will
not
take
the
you to
coldness
see
of
Tang
Li
Menjing's
Xiqing's child,
but you
an
haven't seen her
inexplicable
yet,
malice.
right? That
She
kind
was
of malice
dazed
was
and
like a
looked
sharp
up.
knife,
Right.
cutting away
Wasn't
the
she born
extravagant hope she
prematurely?
had for her so-called
How are
mother.
you now?
She was
He
her
chuckled
mother.
and poked her
There was no
forehead.
doubt about it
I
just
thought
by
you were in a
looking at
bad
his
mood
face.
because of this.
But why would
It
she have
turns out
evil
that you have long
intentions
forgotten
towards him?
about it.
It was not until
Taking
10
out his
seconds
phone,
after Rong
he
Xian
opened
left that Su
Weibo and
Qianxi
handed it to
suddenly
her.
realized what she
See
had
for
done.
yourself. Xueqi took the phone and looked at
why
it.
she abandoned
Why did you
Song Yifan,
change your
why she
phone?
left alone,
Didn't
why
you
she
just buy
abandoned her
that
daughter,
one?
why she married Li
It's
Xiqing,
broken.
and why she became the illegitimate daughter of the
Xueqi
Su
did not
family.
care and refreshed her Weibo.
Xueqi had a million
The first
questions
trending
in her
topic
heart,
was that the Tang
but because
family
of
had
that
gone
sentence,
bankrupt.
she forgot everything.
Mrs. Tang was imprisoned for
Xueqi
attempted
struggled
murder,
to catch up,
and Tang
looking
Zhenghao
for
was
Rong Xian
overwhelmed
in
with
the crowd.
donations and absconded. Scrolling down, chapter
It was Tang
395.
message. After
Breaking
searching for a
news.
while, Tang
Xueqi
family's
went
eldest
back the way
daughter's
she
Australian
came.
affair video
She walked to
exposed
Rong Haiyue's
its
ward
over.
and knocked on the door. There was a quick response.
Whose child is the Tang
Come in.
family's eldest
It was
daughter's
Rong
unborn
Haiyue's
child?
voice.
Paternity test
Xueqi
shows
walked
Miss
in,
Tang's
and
child
Rong
has nothing to do with the
Haiyue's
Li
eyes lit up.
family. However,
Is it
when
a
he saw
coincidence
her,
or a mistake?
there was a trace of
Mistress
imperceptible
Tang's child
disappointment
turns
in
out
his
to be
eyes.
mixed blood.
He smiled and
Xueqi
said,
scrolled down one
"It's
by
you."
one and clicked
It
on
was
the
this
last
girl.
one. The
He
picture
had
was of a
almost
little
mistaken
baby
her for
lying
someone
in an
else just
incubator.
now.
Xueqi
His skin was
nodded and
extremely
said
white,
sincerely,
and a handful
"Thank
of
you for
blonde
last
hair was
night.
stuck to his scalp.
You're
Looking
welcome.
not far away.
If it were someone else, I would have saved them as well."
So,
Chapter
it was not
399.
because you looked like her.
Xueqi
Rong
exclaimed,
Haiyue said that to
"Foreigner?
himself.
Mixed
But when
race?
he saw that face, his
Yes.
heart still
He
ached.
glanced at it,
Reached
Xueqi
out,
walked
and clicked
over
a few
and
times
glanced
on
at
the
his
phone,
arm,
pulling
which
up
was a video that
obviously
Rong
wrapped in
Rue
gauze.
had once hacked. She bowed deeply.
This is the video that
"I'm
Rong
sorry
Rue
that you got
provided
hurt.
to Luo Zhan. Rong Haiyue
There
quickly
is
helped
such
her
a
up and
video.
said,
Why
I
didn't
said
you take
if it
it
were
out
someone
before?
else, I would have saved
He
them as well.
refused to take it out
In a
before,
situation like
and
last
I couldn't
night,
do anything
I
about
don't
it.
think anyone would
Then
sit
why
back
did
and do
he
nothing.
take it out now?
What's more,
You need to
I am a
ask Chengyu
soldier.
this question. I know.
Xueqi
It's
saw
good
his
that you
meaningful
know.
expression
Soldiers
and
are
blinked.
the embodiment
Chengyu
of
and
justice.
Rong Rue
are
As
together?
a soldier,
Yes.
if I did not even
Li
help when
Xiqing
something
suddenly
like that
became
happened,
speechless.
wouldn't it be too
Glancing
useless
at
and a
her,
waste of my identity
he
as a
reached
soldier?
out and knocked her on the
Rong
head.
Haiyue pretended
What do you
to be
mean,
proud.
together?
But after he said that,
Xueqi
he
covered
suddenly
her head and
realized
shrank
that he had
back.
unconsciously
It
used
means
the way
they
he
are
usually
together.
coaxed his daughter.
No.
Li
Xueqi
Xiqing's
wanted to
eyes
laugh,
suddenly became
but she
deeper.
couldn't help tearing
Chengyu
up. Can't control him.
Thank you
She
so
can,
much.
Xueqi
You
said,
child.
thinking of
He
Rong
chuckled,
Rue's
but
obedience
his
to
fists
Chengyu
hidden
in
under
her
the
previous
quilt were
lifetime.
slightly clenched. She has a way
She
to
was so
control
similar.
him.
Exactly
Li Xiqing
like
curled
Rong
his lips
Xian when
and did
she
not
was young.
speak.
For a
Frank,
person
pure,
like
kind,
Rong
and
Rue,
upright.
unless
What a good
he was
child.
willing,
But
no
why
one
would
could
she
force
Song
him.
Yifan's
He
daughter?
knew very well
Rong
what kind of
Haiyue
person
was a bit
Chengyu
disappointed.
She could
Looking
not
at
control
her,
this guy.
He pretended
However,
to ask
it was
casually,
not good to refute
"Did your
his
father
wife's
come to
words.
see you?" So he
He
simply
is in
shut up.
London. At the
My
Kingstown
husband
First
probably did
Hospital.
not tell him
Li
about it.
Xiqing took her to the place where the
Business
baby
trip?
was.
Performance.
In the incubators, there were babies
That's
lying.
good. The
Mr.
nurse
Song
pointed
is
them
a
out,
very good musician.
And Xueqi looked
Our
at one of them
neighbor's
on the
child
edge.
especially
The white
admires him.
baby looked only the size of a cat,
smiled, with
her
wrinkled
eyes sparkling
skin.
as she nodded.
At this moment,
its
I
swollen
also
eyes
admire
were
him
open,
very much,
revealing its blue
My
pupils,
father is the
looking
best.
clear and clean.
Yes.
Rong
Xueqi
Haiyue
leaned against
lowered
the
his
glass
eyes
and
to
looked
hide
into
his
it,
loneliness.
a bit dazed.
Mr. Rong,
Mixed race.
is it convenient for you to
Xueqi
give me your
suddenly said,
contact information?
Who is the father of
Rong
the child?
Haiyue was a little
I
surprised.
don't know.
But he quickly agreed and turned to the table to flip through the paper.
It's just a
But there was
one-night
no
stand.
such thing. There are so
Rong
many
Haiyue
Australians,
was a little embarrassed
and
and
it is
said,
impossible to
"You
find
should
them
tell
one
me
by
your
one.
number. I will call
Besides,
you."
He would not
She
look
told
for
him
them.
Li Xiqing's
So
number
poor.
and quickly added,
Xueqi
"This is
looked
my
at the
husband's
baby
number.
inside.
I don't
The
know where
child
my
is
cell phone
innocent.
is.
The
I
Tang
will get a
family
new
is already
card
like
later.
this. Tang
All right.
Menjing will
Can
certainly
you tell
not
me
want
yours
him.
too?"
He has
She
no
then
father,
told him her
and
number
he is
and looked
premature.
at the time in the ward.
Yes, I've
It
checked.
was almost 10
This
p.m.
child's lungs aren't
It's
very
too
good.
late.
And there's
I'll
also
go
a
back
problem with
now.
his breathing tube.
Good night.
Li Xiqing
Mr.
looked
Rong.
at her.
Good night.
I will give him the
Rest
best
early.
treatment. When he is
She
well,
nodded
he will
gratefully
be
and
sent to
quickly
the
walked
welfare
out,
home.
closing the
Send
door
them to
behind
the
her.
orphanage. Back in the ward,
Xueqi
Li
looked
Xiqing
up
sat
and
on the
found
edge
it
of the
hard to
bed with his
believe.
phone in his hand.
Such a small
Looking
child
sleepy.
is going to be sent to an orphanage?
Yes, this will increase the chances of him being adopted. Li Xiqing looked at her, his eyes darkening.
Do you want to raise him yourself? She was speechless.
Facing his dark eyes, her voice became smaller and smaller.
No. She could not even take care of herself. Why should Li Xiqing take care of this child?
The world is unfair.
It is the child's misfortune to have a mother like Tang Menjing, but he has no choice. Li Xiqing rubbed her hair and whispered, "Don't think too much. If we really raise this child, maybe he will hate us when he grows up. It's not good to work hard." "Okay," she said. said. I want to see Tang Menjing. Chapter 400. Li Xiqing took Su Chenxi to Tang Menjing's ward. Tang Menjing was getting in for drip, lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling blankly. Seeming to have sensed someone coming in, Tang Menjing's hollow eyes lit up a little, but they were also unfocused. Looking sideways, Tang Menjing saw the two of them, and her hollow eyes burst with undisguised hatred.
Tang Menjing suddenly got up, pulled out the needle, and pounced at Xueqi. "Ah, you bitch!" The sharp voice penetrated outside. Xueqi was startled and subconsciously stepped back. Li Xiqing pulled Xueqi away and looked at Tang Menjing coldly. He reached out to stop her from hitting him and immediately pushed her away, showing no mercy at all. Tang Menjing covered her stomach and got up from the ground, looking at Li Xiqing with hatred. Li Xiqing, Li Xiqing. Ha 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 ha, you are finally here. Then she pounced at him, her voice hoarse with hysterical hatred. Didn't you say you didn't dare? Didn't you dare? Li Xiqing was quick to react and carried her out. He reached out and closed the door of the ward, holding it firmly and not loosening his grip. Ah! Open the door, Li Xiqing, you coward bastard. Tang Menjing pulled the door handle hard, but no matter how hard she tried, the door would not budge. She stopped pulling and leaned against the glass door, staring at Li Xiqing and roaring, "Come on, kill me! Li Xiqing, you coward, coward!" Li Xiqing's eyes were wide open, and he was about to explode. As she roared, she kept slapping the frosted glass door with her hands, leaving bloody handprints on it. Xueqi was scared, curled up in Li Xiqing's arms, looking at the door in shock. There were bloody handprints on the glass door one after another. Frightened, Xueqi buried her head in Li Xiqing's arms, grabbed his clothes and said, "Call the doctor, call the doctor." Tang Menjing had a cesarean section. Under the violent movement, the wound split open and bled, and the situation was not optimistic. Xueqi watched her being sedated and pushed into the operating room, a bit dazed. "Let's go home." He took her in his arms. Scared. She came back to herself, gently shook her head, and looked up at him. "Let's go home." "Yes." After leaving the hospital and getting into the car, Li Xiqing received a call from the old house. "Yes, I've been discharged." "All right. Tomorrow she's not feeling well now." "Okay." He hung up the phone and said, "Grandpa asked you to go to the old house, but I refused." "Okay." She was really not in the mood now. Leaning in his arms, she did not move. When she got home, Nanny Rong had already made dinner. She had specially made appetizers and porridge for Xueqi. Xueqi ate some and soon fell asleep. Lying in bed, she did not know how long she had slept. When she woke up, it was already midnight. Li Xiqing was not there. She checked the time, and it was past 11 p.m. Barefoot, she opened the door and walked out. She immediately saw Li Xiqing in pajamas, standing next to the railing, talking on the phone. Seeing her coming out, Li Xiqing immediately looked at her feet. Frowning, he pointed at her feet unhappily. Chapter 401. Li Xiqing walked in and saw her lying down again. He sat on the edge of the bed and spoke fluent Italian. Xueqi understood, lifted the quilt and looked at him. After he hung up, she asked, "Are you going on a business trip?" "Yes, I may have to go to Italy." "When?" "The day after tomorrow." Li Xiqing got under the quilt and held her head. "I'll be back soon, in 3 to 5 days." "Okay." Xueqi was a bit disappointed and looked at him. "Are you going to Venice?" "No." Li Xiqing chuckled and pinched her little face. "I'll take you there in the future. I have something to do there this time." "Okay. Go to sleep." Li Xiqing held her and kissed her forehead. "We'll go to Grandpa's tomorrow." "Yeah." Xueqi grabbed his shirt on the side of his waist and looked down. Venice, Italy, the romantic capital of water. She wanted to go, always wanted to go. But it was good that he was going on a business trip. She had always wanted to do something but did not dare to do it. If he went to Italy, she could check it out. What if? The light was turned off, and Li Xiqing soon fell asleep. Even breathing came from the top of her head into her hair. However, her grip on his hand tightened. He fell asleep. In the past few days, he had not touched her at all. Even kissing was very, very rare. Although she resisted his kiss, she knew that she was very likely to have AIDS, so she refused his touch. However, he did not have any feelings for her at all? Could it be that he already knew that she was being raped, but he did not say anything? Thinking of this, she shrank even more, moved her hand away from him, and moved back. So, he did not touch her because he could not get over it, right?
Xueqi felt a lump in her throat, but she gritted her teeth and did not make a sound. She shifted her body and reached out for her phone. As soon as she pressed the screen, Li Xiqing moved and was woken up by her. A big hand came over and pulled her into his embrace. He whispered in her ear, "Can't sleep." "Yeah, I slept too much." "You sleep. I'll play with my phone for a while." Li Xiqing was indeed exhausted. Too many things had happened in the past few days, and he was almost out of breath. Hearing her words, he responded in a low voice, let go of her hand and said, "Don't be too late." As soon as the big hand moved away, Xueqi's heart felt empty, and tears of grievance overflowed from her back to him. "Yeah," she responded in a low voice, with an imperceptible tremor. Not noticing, Li Xiqing turned his back and closed his eyes. Xueqi bit her fist and let the tears fall. She forced herself not to make a sound. Her body was tense and motionless. After Li Xiqing fell asleep again, she took out her phone, opened the browser, and typed in the keywords. AIDS transmission route. Hundreds of articles popped up, and she clicked on one of them. ****** blood. Mother and baby. In daily life, shaking hands, touching, and sleeping would not cause any problems. Kissing and hugging would not spread the virus. Saliva, sweat, and tears would carry a little bit of the virus, but it would not lead to infection. Seeing this, Xueqi was reassured. He continued to search for the early symptoms of AIDS. Chapter 402. Some people had the same symptoms as the early stage of AIDS, but it was not necessarily AIDS. AIDS must be tested. Behind her, Li Xiqing woke up again. Startled, Xueqi exited the browser and immediately deleted her browsing history. She put the phone aside. He turned around and looked at her. In the dark, he looked even more mysterious. Xueqi saw it and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" Li Xiqing did not answer. He leaned over, put his leg on her, and closed his eyes comfortably. Being hugged, Xueqi also nestled in his arms, staring at his chest motionlessly. She stayed awake for most of the night and did not fall asleep until after midnight. When she woke up, Li Xiqing was already gone. After washing up, she walked out and found that he had been working in the study early in the morning. He was so busy that he could fly. Xueqi did not want to disturb him and went downstairs for breakfast. There was a parking space on campus, but it would be too eye-catching to drive to school. Xueqi took a taxi and went to school. It was the end of the semester, and her studies were very busy. Xueqi had asked for a few days off because of her illness and missed many classes. After a day of classes, Xueqi was still studying in the library. Her phone rang. It was Li Xiqing. "Still in class?" "Yes, I'm studying. I promised Grandpa that I would take you there today." Xueqi had completely forgotten about it. Now that he reminded her, she suddenly felt like she had just woken up from a dream. She nodded, packed up her books, and rushed out with her backpack. At the school gate, she immediately saw the Bugatti surrounded by a lot of people. Seeing Xueqi walking toward the car, many people knew who it was. "It's Mr. Li. Wow, a rich guy is so different. He changed his Maybach to this car. Wow, when can I afford it? This car costs more than 20 million. Xueqi blushed, opened the passenger door, and got in. Li Xiqing took her backpack, which was heavy. "Are you done?" she asked. "Yeah." Li Xiqing started the car and drove toward the old house. On the day of Grandpa's birthday party, Ming sent out the peach. "He said you made it yourself." She looked at him and asked, "How did Grandpa react?" "I'm very surprised. I finished all of them." She couldn't help chuckling. "Really? Can Grandpa finish such a big longevity peach by himself?" "Really?" Li Xiqing couldn't help but curl his lips. Ming said that he had never seen an old man who could eat so much. Xueqi laughed. Thinking of Grandpa's kind face, her heart was slightly warm. In this world, before Li Xiqing, Grandpa was the only person who treated her well. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror and found that although she was smiling, she did not seem to be in a good mood. Or rather, it had been like this for the past few days. She looked normal, but one could see that she was troubled. "Mrs. Li." "I'm your husband. If you have any unhappy things, you can tell me." Don't keep it to yourself. It's not good for your health.
Okay. Don't you have anything to say to me?
Xueqi was dazed and looked at him. He had lost weight recently. Chapter 403. Their eyes met. His eyes were bright and deep, with sharp insight. Xueqi felt that she had nowhere to hide in front of him. Quickly looking away, she shook her head.
No.
Li Xiqing pursed his lips and did not ask more, driving quietly. He could see that she was in a bad mood. If he asked more, it would only be counterproductive. When they arrived at the old house, it was time for dinner. Lu saw them coming from a distance and greeted them with a basin of water.
She complained, "Why did you come back so late?
Today is the New Year's Eve. Come and get rid of the bad luck.
God bless us."
Lu dipped a stick of mugwort in the water and threw it at them. There were grains and charms in the basin. Xueqi and Li Xiqing stood at the door after Lu threw the water at them. Captain Li saw Xueqi coming in and felt sorry for her. He said, "Oh, Qian, how did you lose so much weight?" Xueqi was dazed. Had she lost weight? She couldn't help but think of a characteristic of AIDS: extreme thinness. Grandpa could tell at a glance that she had lost weight. How skinny was she? Xueqi touched her face and looked at Li Xiqing behind her. Qin Shuhua saw Li Xiqing and said to her father-in-law, "Xiqing is the one who has lost a lot of weight. He has been in the hospital with Xueqi for the past 2 days. The company is so busy. Dad, you are too biased. Qian is a girl. This boy is so tenacious. He fell from the mountain when he was a child and did not die. He will not starve to death." Xueqi was shocked. Fell from the mountain? When Qin Shuhua heard this, her expression changed dramatically. Li Xiqing went up and patted her on the shoulder. "It's okay. It's all over." Qin Shuhua gritted her teeth and did not respond. She turned around and walked in. Seeing Qin Shuhua like this, Li Xiqing looked at Captain Li with some blame. Grandpa knew he had said something wrong and shut up. Xueqi was very curious, but seeing their expressions, she did not ask more. She would ask him at night. After chatting with Grandpa for a while, the family went to the table. Li Beixing and Li Jinnan didn't go home. Lu had prepared a table full of delicious food, but not many people were eating. Qin Shuhua picked food for Li Xiao, Captain Li, and Li Xiqing. Xueqi ate silently and did not speak. However, she never expected that Qin Shuhua would pick food for her as well. Xueqi was flattered and looked at Qin Shuhua. Qin Shuhua looked a bit embarrassed, but when she saw Li Zhao's eyes, she still said, "Qianci, I used to be obsessed and thought Tang Menjing was good. Now I know what kind of person Tang Menjing is. I have been fooled for a long time. It must have been hard on you. I thought Tang Menjing's child was really Xiqing's. After all, it was a paternity test. I didn't know she could fake something like that. It was my fault. Qianci, forgive me, okay?" Xueqi was a bit scared and looked at Li Xiqing helplessly. He looked at her, his eyes deep. "Mom is talking to you." Xueqi suddenly came to herself and whispered, "Mom, I never blamed you." Chapter 404. She looked down and nodded. "Yes." After dinner, Captain Li took out the couplets he had written early in the morning, as well as the window decorations that Lu Sa and Qin Shuhua had cut in the past few days. He threw all of them to Li Xiqing and said, "Don't think that you can be lazy just because you came back so late. Go and paste them all for me. Don't miss any." He smiled and took it. Xueqi went forward to take some curtains and went to help with the glue. Xueqi felt it was a bit difficult to stick them in each room. She felt that her body was getting worse. If it was in the past, she definitely wouldn't be so tired. By the time he was done, 2 hours had already passed. Grandpa asked them to stay at the old house, and Xueqi had no objection. However, Li Xiqing had something to deal with and left in a hurry. She was lying in the room alone, staring at the ceiling. It was a silent night. Li Xiqing was scheduled to fly in the afternoon, but he went to Italy in the morning. After the Lunar New Year, Xueqi joined the exam team. After the exam, she felt even more exhausted. A few days later, Xueqi came to a small hospital far away from them, which had a very good reputation online. Not daring to drive, She took a taxi. Wearing sunglasses and a hat, she checked herself into the infectious disease department, drew her blood, and sat quietly outside. Dr. Liu, are you sure it is? Did my son really get AIDS? A woman's voice trembled. Listening to the voice, Xueqi did not hesitate. As long as Dr. Liu said yes, the woman would immediately break down and cry. Dr. Liu's voice was very low, and Xueqi could not hear what he said, but the woman immediately cried, "Damn it, my son is still so young. What should I do?" Soon the woman walked out weeping in despair. She was even more nervous. When it was her turn, she walked in and sat in front of the doctor. The name on the card was Lu Quan, which somehow made Xueqi feel familiar. Looking up, she saw a very young man wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. When he saw her, his eyes were a bit obscure. "Take off your sunglasses," said Lu Quan. Xueqi heard that and took off her sunglasses, revealing her small face. Lu Quan saw her face and raised his eyebrows. It was really her? After looking at her medical record, Lu Quan asked, "You suspect that you have AIDS?" Xueqi shrank back and nodded. "Why? I might have been raped by an AIDS patient," Su Qing-sang said. "Are you wearing a condom?" "I don't know. Are you sure he raped you?" The man's words were too sharp. Xueqi's eyes turned red as she shook her head. "I'm not sure. I was knocked out, but when I woke up, my body was in pain, and I had a fever of about 40 degrees. "Oh, then he must be infected with AIDS." Lu Quan threw the medical record aside, leaned back on the chair, yawned, and said, "The probability of HIV transmission is most likely through sexual intercourse. In this case, have you slept with your husband?" Xueqi's heart was stabbed, and her tears suddenly fell. She shook her head and choked. "No." Chapter 405. However, she quickly thought of what she had read online and asked, "Didn't they say it would take 6 weeks to get the results?" There was a trace of regret in Lu Quan's eyes, but when he saw her tears, he felt a sense of satisfaction. However, he quickly put on a sympathetic expression. "It's probably still in the incubation period, so it's not shown on the report. But you're already in this situation, so you'll definitely be infected. You should go back and prepare." She couldn't help crying. "What should I do? I don't want to die yet." "There's nothing you can do if you don't want to die. Who told you to do it with someone?" Lu Quan shrugged helplessly. "All right, don't cry. I advise you to go back now and confess to your husband. Let's see how we can resolve this." How dare she? How dare she? Tell him that she had been raped and that she might even have AIDS? Or could it be that he already knew? She stood up and walked out, and Lu Quan couldn't help laughing. Picking up his cell phone, he called his sister Lu Anan. She quickly picked up. "Hello. Hey, Anan, I helped you get revenge. How are you going to thank me?" When Xueqi got home, she did not even eat and just hid in her room crying. Nanny Rong was terrified, but Xueqi would not open the door no matter how hard she knocked. After crying for a long time, Xueqi fell asleep. When she was half asleep, she felt someone was taking off her clothes. Xueqi suddenly woke up and grabbed the hand. Startled by her sudden movement, he quickly helped her up and took off her coat. "I heard from Nanny Rong that you haven't eaten yet?" His voice was low and deep, sounding tired. It was not hard to tell that he had come back in a hurry. It was the 4th day of his business trip. Xueqi pursed her lips and burst into tears again. He wiped her tears away and said helplessly, "Why are you crying?" She wiped her tears on her sleeves and threw herself into his arms, sobbing. Li Siqing let her cry, reached out to touch her hair, pulled her up, held her face and bent down to look at her. "What's wrong? Did you suffer outside?" She shook her head and gritted her teeth, crying so hard that her nose was running. Li Siqing chuckled and took 2 tissues from the bed to wipe away her snot. "You look so ugly. I can't bear to look at you." She blushed and looked away, wiping away her tears and snot before saying, "Mr. Li, He took off his jacket, threw it on the sofa, leaned toward her and looked at her. "What do you want to say?" Xueqi's eyes became red again. Li Siqing sighed, hugged her and said, "It's too cold outside. It's more comfortable to hug my wife." Xueqi blinked, and his lips were already on hers. The kiss went from shallow to deep. Xueqi's heart pounded, and she hugged him. He hugged her and pushed her onto the bed. Lifting her sweater with his big hand, he reached under her clothes, breathing faster and faster. She suddenly thought of something, raised her head and shouted, "No!" Chapter 406. Xueqi's clothes were taken off very quickly. Blushing, she still gritted her teeth and refused. "No, no." "Why?" He stopped and looked at her. Xueqi stuttered, her heart palpitating. When the words were on the tip of her tongue, her tears fell again, and she burst into tears. Li Xiqing was confused by her crying, so he stopped asking and leaned over to press her down. Xueqi only had a pair of bottoms left, and nothing else, just her underwear. Li Xiqing reached in and unbuckled her bra. She shrank back, trying to push his hand away, but he was even more aggressive. Spreading her legs with his thighs, he put his knee between her legs and whispered, "I'm more excited when you do this." Xueqi suddenly stopped moving. Li Xiqing curled his lips and kissed her neck sincerely. Every touch was like a feather, gently tickling her all the way to her heart. Xueqi burst into tears again. Choking, she said, "Mr. Li, Her soft voice made Li Xiqing's already restless beast even more uncontrollable. He moved forward and gently rubbed her neck through her clothes. Xueqi clearly sensed him and shrank back. Panting and scared, she whispered, "Let's get a divorce." Li Xiqing narrowed his eyes, feeling dangerous. Lowering his head, the tip of his nose against the tip of his nose, they looked at each other. "What's the reason this time?" Li Xiqing was really angry. Looking at her, he felt she was a naughty child. "If you say that too much, it will no longer be romantic, Mrs. Li." Xueqi burst into more tears. Putting her hand on his chest, she said, "I." However, he obviously did not want to hear her out. He kissed her lips, unzipped her pants, and pulled them down. Xueqi struggled even harder, but he was so aggressive that she could not fight back at all. Crying even harder, Xueqi finally couldn't take it anymore and said loudly, "Mr. Li, I was raped. Do you know that?" Li Xiqing paused and suddenly composed himself. His eyes were like that of an ancient beast. Dangerous. "What did you say?" She burst into tears, desperate to the extreme. Under him, she was so wrong that she could not speak. He let go of her and helped her up. Wiping away her tears, he asked in a low and dangerous voice, "Who is it?" "During my business trip?" She sobbed hard, unable to say a word. "Louis Han." Li Xiqing said what he was thinking, and his heart sank. Hearing that, Xueqi stopped crying, took his hand, and shook her head. "No, no. Who is that?" Other than Louis Han, Li Xiqing could not think of anyone else with such a motive and courage. She sniffled, and he suppressed his impatience, took 2 tissues, and wiped her tears. Chapter 407. Li Xiqing looked at her and suddenly laughed. He asked in a deep voice, "Which hospital are you from?" Xueqi shuddered and stopped crying. "You went to the mental hospital, right?" Gritting his teeth, Li Xiqing poked her head with his finger. "How can you be so stupid? What's in your head? Was your brain filled with water when you were a child?" She felt wronged and cried even harder. She slapped him on the shoulder and yelled, "You are stupid. You are the one with water in your head." He felt angry and amused. He grabbed her hand and pushed her down again. Ignoring the tears and snot on her face, he lowered his head and kissed her hard. The unexpected kiss made Xueqi struggle even more. Angrily, she patted his back. She had said she had AIDS. Why did he still kiss her? Why did he still kiss her? Didn't he know it was contagious? Xueqi was very angry, but she couldn't help feeling sad and wronged. Her heart seemed to be grasped by him, aching so much that tears kept falling. She didn't want to die yet. She didn't want him to be infected by her and die with her. However, she couldn't break free. He took the air from her mouth, moved his lips down, and bit her collarbone. She cried, "Li Xiqing, you pervert. Don't touch me. Don't bite me. You are a pervert, and a stupid little pervert." Li Xiqing was disappointed and bit her collarbone harder, making her cry out, "It hurts." "You know it hurts?" Ha! In the end, Li Xiqing still couldn't bear to do it too harshly. Kissing her on the lips, he turned her face to look at him. Tell me, how could such a smart person like me be defeated by you? Su Qianxi felt insulted and gave him a stare. What did he mean? Was he saying she was stupid? Not convinced? He felt angry and amused. Gritting his teeth, he said, "If you are not convinced, then don't be so stupid in the future. Do you think you were raped by that girl with AIDS?" Su Qianxi pursed her lips and almost cried her heart out. That person did take the medicine, but when I went over, he hadn't completely acted up. It was only after I beat the old woman up that he acted up. She stared at him incredulously and blurted out, "You hit a woman?" Li Xiqing was speechless. He glanced at her gloomily and said matter-of-factly, "In that kind of situation, it would be good if I didn't kill her." And then the medicine took effect on the monkey. I gave the old woman to him. Su Qianxi's eyes widened. She wanted to say something, but her voice was drowned out by a sob. He wanted to teach her a lesson, but seeing her crying like this, he suddenly felt reluctant. Annoyed, he got up and took a few tissues to wipe her tears. Annoyed and depressed, he said, "Do you know how pigs die?" Su Qianxi reached out and pushed him hard, angry. Li Xiqing leaned down again and whispered, "Are you angry?" Su Qianxi looked away and tried to recall in her mind. Li Xiqing chuckled. Don't you know if you've ever been touched by anyone? Chapter 408. When I woke up, I had such a high fever, and my whole body was in pain. She sounded aggrieved. And you made love to me for so long the day before, and I still hurt there. Who knows if it was you or someone else? Li Xiqing said. So it's my fault? It's your fault. Su Qianxi yelled angrily and stared at him with a red face, seeming that if he did not admit his mistake, she would cry. Li Xiqing chuckled and said, Okay, it's my fault. Perfunctory. However, she looked away and couldn't help smiling. Li Xiqing looked at her and whispered, You're not crying anymore? Su Qianxi looked away, avoiding his face. He leaned in again and was about to kiss her. She looked away in disgust and turned her head away. He leaned in again, and she avoided again. This time, he did not manage to kiss her. Not kissing her, he lowered his head and kissed her on the neck, making her exclaim. I feel bad, he complained, grabbing her hand and touching it. I've been without food for so long. It's time to give me some benefits, Mrs. Li. Wait a minute. She pushed him. But when I was in a coma, I felt someone was taking off my clothes. That was definitely not an illusion. Li Xiqing paused and said calmly, Probably not. It should be Rong Haiyue. Him. Taking off my clothes? Yes, he picked you up from the water and took off your sweater and coat. He was injured at that time. Although he was not very happy, taking off the sweater and coat did save a lot of energy. Oh. She understood. He saved me. I know. She shivered sensitively. He kissed her and said in a low voice, When the new year, we will go to the capital to visit and thank him. Okay. Don't touch there. What about here? He pulled down her pants and took off her clothes. He couldn't wait to get rid of the restraints on his body. Su Qianxi felt a bit cold because of the wind caused by his movements. She reached for the quilt and covered him with it. Su Qianxi flinched and thought of something. She asked, Where is Tang Mengqing? Tang Zhenghao fled with the money, Mrs. Tang was in jail, and Tang Menjing was behaving like that. Where was Tang Mengqing? She lives at my uncle's house. He leaned against her. She is good friends with Wei Ya. Oh. You still have the mood to think about others? He folded her legs and rubbed them gently. She still found it hard to believe. Pushing him, she asked, Are you sure what you said is true? I wasn't. Li Xiqing was speechless. Taking her hand away, he bent over and whispered, Now I do. Su Qianxi groaned and looked annoyed when she heard that. Pushing him away, she said, You bad guy. Don't you like it, huh? Li Xiqing's voice rose slightly. No. Chapter 409. Gritting his teeth. He put on his clothes and picked her up without saying a word. Feeling guilty, She looked at him weakly and grabbed his collar like a child who had done something wrong.
She whispered, "I can walk by myself."
"Shut up." Li Xiqing was very annoyed. He carried her downstairs, took his car keys and wallet, and walked her to his car. Xueqi did not say anything. She heard that a man with an insatiable appetite was the worst. Although he felt wronged, he was still rational. Gently putting her in the passenger seat, he went to the driver's seat and sat down. However, he was not in a hurry to start the car. He took out a pack of cigarettes, lit one, and took a long drag before he started the car. Feeling better, Xueqi looked at the night view outside the window and felt a bit dazed. It seemed like a long time since she came back to life. She felt like she was dreaming. Xueqi looked out the window for a long time before looking at him. With the cigarette in his mouth, Li Xiqing noticed her gaze, glanced at her, took the cigarette, and blew out a long smoke. In the winter night, the white smoke shrouded his face, making his originally delicate and tough facial features appear even colder and more distinct. They were silent the whole way. When they arrived at the hospital closest to Yuxiu Hospital, it was more than 10 minutes later. The burning desire was mostly gone in the cold wind of the winter night. He wanted to carry her out of the car, but she thought it was too embarrassing and insisted on walking on her own. He had to give up and take her to the gynecological emergency department. After a series of tests, the doctor looked at her with a strange expression and asked, "When did you find your stomach uncomfortable?" Xueqi blushed and told the truth. The doctor pushed up his glasses and asked, "When was your last period?" More than 20 days ago." "Is your period usually accurate?" "Yes, it's either a day earlier or a day later." "Okay." The doctor nodded and said a name that Xueqi did not understand to a nurse not far away. Soon, the nurse left. When the doctor came back, he handed a box to Xueqi. "Go and try it." Seeing the name on it, Xueqi was dumbfounded. "Pregnancy test?" She went to the bathroom and used it according to the nurse's instructions. Looking at the 2 red lines, she was a bit dazed and took out 2 more. There were a total of 3 test papers, 2 positive and 1 weak positive. She didn't know how she got out of the bathroom. Seeing him walking over, she blinked and called, "Honey." Li Xiqing looked at her. Yes. He smelled like tobacco. Obviously, he had smoked again. Hearing his response, she suddenly screamed and threw herself at him, wrapping her arms around his neck. "Honey, honey, honey." Li Xiqing's first reaction was to hold her in his arms. Lowering his head, he asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" She hugged him tightly and then suddenly let go of him. Holding his hand excitedly, she said with a serious face, "I have something very important to tell you." Li Xiqing raised an eyebrow and looked at her hand. She hid it behind her and pretended to be unhappy. "What happened?" He reached out and was about to grab her hand. She dodged and said, "Don't move. Stand there." "Okay." He stopped moving and looked at her. She took out a pregnancy test, waved it in front of him and asked, "Do you know what this is?" Chapter 4:10. Hearing that, Xueqi's good mood suddenly disappeared. She reached out and punched him. Li Xiqing's cold and deep eyes became softer, holding her fist. Xueqi's punch missed, and she kicked him with her foot. This time, Li Xiqing did not avoid it. His eyes were full of joy, and his face was always cold. He reached out and pulled her over, taking out the test papers behind her. The 3 objects and the bright red line stimulated Li Xiqing's vision. His lips became wider and wider. Xueqi was a bit annoyed and hit his chest. "You are so ignorant. You have short hair and short vision." Li Xiqing hugged her from behind, looked down at her face, and whispered, "Well, I don't see that this is a pregnancy test at all." When Xueqi heard that, the unhappiness on her face disappeared instantly. She reached out and pinched his face, saying angrily, "You are playing with me." Li Xiqing's smile became wider and wider, holding her hand and whispered, "You played with me first, Mrs. Li." Seeing his rare smile, Xueqi chuckled, wrinkled her nose and looked disgusted. "Go away. Did you already know?" "I just saw the nurse go to get the pregnancy test paper." "No wonder." Xueqi was a bit disappointed and pushed him. "Can't you pretend to be surprised by me?" "Why do I have to pretend?" Li Xiqing's eyes were sparkling, as if he wanted to suck her in. He couldn't help putting his hand on her lower abdomen. Xueqi smiled happily and took his hand away. Go away. I'm going to see the doctor. Okay. Li Xiqing watched her walk into the clinic, and his forced calmness finally broke. He clenched his fists and hit his thigh hard, feeling that he was going crazy. She was pregnant. She was pregnant. He was going to be a father. He was going to be a father. The sudden surprise made Li Xiqing's heart beat faster and faster, and he almost couldn't help cheering. Under the strange gaze of the people around him, Li Xiqing picked up his phone, hid in the hospital stairwell, and immediately called his good friend. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Ming took a box of condoms he had just bought and hid in the bathroom. He held a sterilized needle that he had asked his subordinate to take from the hospital and poked it. Suddenly, a voice rang out, and Ming was startled. When he realized it was his phone, he breathed a sigh of relief. My goodness, I really can't do bad things. Once I do bad things, I'll feel guilty. Rubbing the lubrication from the condom, Ming took out his phone from his pocket. After seeing it was Li Xiqing, he felt a little bored. This guy had been too happy recently. He didn't want to see him. Hang up. Lowering his head, he continued poking and poking. However, Li Xiqing did not give up, and his phone rang again. Despite his impatience, Ming picked up the phone. Hello. Ha ha ha. Ming. Ming shivered and looked at the caller. F***CK. Was it really Li Xiqing? Did you see a ghost? Ming wasn't in a good mood. He put the condom back into the box. You're smiling like that. If I didn't know better, I would have thought you were going to give birth. Hearing that, Li Xiqing couldn't help laughing. Ming shivered and hung up the phone without hesitation. When this guy laughed, it was either a good thing or a bad thing. Listening to his retarded laughter, there was no doubt that it was a good thing. Chapter 4:11. If it was something bad, he would definitely be very interested. The phone rang for the third time, and Ming directly hung up. After dealing with the evidence, he slowly put the condoms in his pocket. After finding that Yu Lily was still sleeping, he secretly put them where he usually put them. Very quietly, very quietly. The familiar voice woke Yu Lily up from her sleep. Seeing Yu Lily's astonished look, he pretended to be indifferent, closed the drawer, stood up, and said indifferently, "Replenish the national treasury. It's used up." Yu Lily's eyes were filled with shock. Yu Lily didn't know what to say. Yu Lily gave him a big look. You want to do it again? How can I not kill you? Ming heard that and directly rushed over, smiling wickedly. Are you willing to do it? F***CK off. Yu Lily did not give him any face and directly lifted her foot to kick him away. Answer the phone. It's so noisy. Being kicked away, Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that this woman did not suspect anything. I was scared to death. Picking up the phone, Ming was impatient. I say, Lao Air, don't be crazy in the middle of the night. It will affect the city. My wife is pregnant. Ming was speechless. 100,000 critical hits. My wife is pregnant. My wife is pregnant. My wife is pregnant. Ming was speechless. Did you hear that? My wife is pregnant. Oh haha. Idiot. Ming did not want to listen and directly hung up. Yu Lily saw his sneer and asked curiously, Why is Li Xiqing looking for you? He said that his wife is pregnant. Yu Lily heard that and asked, Isn't that a good thing? Why are you scolding him? I don't have a wife. I don't even have a pregnant one. Ming's face was full of resentment. He directly rushed over and kissed Yu Lily. Yu Lily struggled hard and scolded, Hey, Ming, you promised to do it twice. If you do this again, I won't play with you anymore. I'm telling you. Ming was honest. He got up, pressed her down, turned her over, and let her lie down. Go to sleep. Don't touch me. F***CK. You even kissed her. Go away, go away, go away. Ah, the one with the surname O. Xueqi had not eaten at night, and her stomach was growling. Suddenly craving seafood porridge, Li Xiqing drove around for a long time before he found a chain congee restaurant. It was supper time, so she ordered a lot of barbecue, porridge, and various cold dishes. Sitting there, Li Xiqing secretly curled his lips and scrolled through his contacts. He had already called all the people he could think of. As long as they had a good relationship with each other, they would brag about it. Especially when he called the old house, Li Xiqing was smiling like a fool. Su Qianxi looked at him and smiled. Qin Shuhua was overjoyed. She asked Su Qianxi to answer the phone and gave her a lot of instructions. Grandpa warned Li Xiqing, "Young man, there is a knife in your head." Su Qianxi blushed when she heard it in the car with the speaker on. Li Xiqing scrolled through the contacts, looked at the time, and said, "Luo Zhan lives nearby. Ask him to come down." Then he called Luo Zhan. Su Qianxi seemed to remember that Lu Yihan's house was not far from here. As a nerd, Luo Zhan was certainly doing what a nerd should do at this time. Hearing the phone ring, his hand suddenly trembled. Oh no, dash. Chapter 4:12. Seeing another pentakill, Luo Zhan was so heartbroken that he almost smashed his phone. Damn. It's winter vacation. What a bunch of elementary school students. What a scam. Ah, my rank. Luo Zhan threw away the large-screen phone, picked up the phone that was ringing non-stop in front of him, and shouted angrily, "Hello!" Li Xiqing narrowed his eyes and asked dangerously, "Where are you?" Luo Zhan immediately calmed down and replied, "At home. I am at the porridge shop near your house. Come down." Not allowing any more questions. Okay, this was Li Xiqing. Supper? Yes. Okay, I'll be right there. Luo Zhan threw the phone away, quickly picked up a coat, and went out. Li Xiqing hung up and found that Su Qianxi was also on the phone. The call seemed to have been connected. "Hello, Yihan? Lu Yihan?" Li Xiqing was a little unhappy, pursing his red lips and looking at her with a pair of deep eyes. Su Qianxi blinked and continued, "Where are you?" Lu Yihan was running at night, answering the phone while running slowly, slightly panting. "I am running outside. What's wrong?" "I am at the XX park near your house. Come over if you have time. I have something to tell you." "Okay." Lu Yihan looked around. "Give me 10 minutes. Okay, I am in room 88. Okay, see you later." Lu Yihan hung up the phone and started running again, but this time, he was much faster than before. At the door of the porridge shop that Su Qianxi mentioned, Lu Yihan stopped, calmed his breath, and walked in. However, when he entered, a huge force hit him from behind. Lu Yihan was caught off guard and almost fell. Turning his head, he saw a man in a gray coat with a hood over his head. His hair was a bit messy under the hood. He apologized to Lu Yihan. I'm sorry. Lu Yihan looked over and found that this person was a bit familiar. His expression became strange. "It's you?" Luo Zhan took a closer look and recognized Lu Yihan. Today, Lu Yihan was wearing a set of dark blue sports clothes and the latest dark blue Jordan shoes. He looked quite sunny. "I didn't mean to." Luo Zhan quickly waved his hand. "It's so late. Why are you here? Not on purpose?" If someone else had said this, he might have believed it. But this guy. From the first time Lu Yihan saw him, he felt very uncomfortable. She turned around and decided to ignore him. She asked the attendant, "Where's room 88? "This way, please." The waiter led Lu Yihan to the end of the corridor. However, Luo Zhan also immediately followed, curling up into a ball. Lu Yihan felt a little disgusted. He stopped and said impatiently, "Why are you following me?" "What do you mean I'm following you? I'm also going to room 88. Why don't you say you're following me? This is ridiculous." Luo Zhan sneered and squeezed past him. He pushed the door open and shouted, "Brother, why are you looking for me so late at night?" Li Xiqing was peeling the shrimp shell for Su Qianxi. His movements were slow and elegant. Seeing Luo Zhan coming in, followed by Lu Yihan, Li Xiqing chuckled. "When did you two start dating?" Chapter 4:13. No way. Luo Zhan was very likely to be gay. Was Lu Yihan turned gay? Slow down. Li Xiqing poured her a cup of tea. Hearing that, Lu Yihan walked in with a gloomy face. "Why didn't you wear your glasses today?" Su Qianxi moved the stool next to her and motioned for him to sit down. Lu Yihan's eyes softened. Sitting down next to her, he said, I used sun toss. That's what you'll do in the future. You look pretty good without your glasses. Lu Yihan's smile widened as he said, Okay. He had not seen her for a long time, and she did not look so good. Lu Yihan moved his lips and said in a low voice, You've lost weight. Hearing Lu Yihan's cryptic tone, Li Xiqing felt it was harsh. He quickly peeled the shrimp, dipped it in the sauce, and fed it to Xueqi. Honey ah! Xueqi did not hesitate to take a bite of the shrimp. After eating half of it, Li Xiqing put the other half in his mouth. After eating, she glanced at Lu Yihan casually. Lu Yihan's expression at the moment was indescribable. Ouch, it hurts my eyes. Luo Zhan covered his eyes. It's not good for you two to show up late at night, right? The waiter snickered and served them tea. Luo Zhan gulped it down unceremoniously and asked, Go ahead. You usually don't come to me for no reason. Now that you've invited me for supper, there must be something you want me to do. Humph, look how well he knew him. Maybe he could blackmail him even more. Li Xiqing took a sip of tea and said slowly, Nothing. I just wanted to tell you that Mrs. Li is pregnant, and I'm going to be a father. Luo Zhan stared at him with his eyes wide open. Lu Yihan's hand holding the cup slightly tightened. Looking at Xueqi, his eyes narrowed. Xueqi met his eyes and nodded happily. Yihan, I'm pregnant. Lu Yihan's heart suddenly felt like it had been bounced by a spring. With a smile on his face, he pretended to be relaxed and said, That's great. Can I be a godfather? Yes. Xueqi put her hand on her belly, and her pale face was shrouded in the glow of happiness. Definitely. Lu Yihan's eyes darkened. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. Li Xiqing clearly noticed that the smile on his lips was a bit stiff. Come, let me introduce you. She looked at Luo Zhan. Luo Zhan, this is my good friend, Lu Yihan. Yes. Luo Zhan pouted. He also knows O Ming's woman. Of course Lily and I are classmates, and Yihan is in the same class as us. We often play together. Xueqi looked at Lu Yihan. Isn't that right, Yihan? Yes, we are very close. When Lu Yihan said this, he glanced at Li Xiqing and chuckled. Li Xiqing clearly noticed his provocation and raised an eyebrow. Luo Zhan clearly felt that the atmosphere was not quite right, so he quickly tried to smooth things over. How can we not drink on such a happy day? How about some? Then, before anyone could answer, he shouted, Waiter, 24 beers. 24? Xueqi was shocked. Mr. Li has a weak stomach and cannot drink beer. It's too cold. Chapter 4:14. Drink. He gave Xueqi a comforting look. It's okay to drink a little. Xueqi did not say anything. He looked at Lu Yihan again. Godfather Lu, are you coming? Let your biological father compete with you. Lu Yihan's hands trembled. Looking up, he met Li Xiqing's playful eyes. This guy was doing it on purpose. Godfather? Biological father? Ha ha ha. Come on. Lu Yihan slapped the table and stood up. Seeing the waiter carrying 2 bottles of beer in, he waved his hand. Open all. Xueqi was secretly shocked and pulled the corner of Li Xiqing's shirt. Don't drink too much. I know what I'm doing, Li Xiqing comforted him, but he already had a plan in mind. Come on, let's drink to our biological father. Lu Yihan poured a glass, stood up, and looked at Li Xiqing with hostility. Luo Zhan looked disdainful. A glass? To respect our biological father, you should at least drink a bottle. Lu Yihan was speechless. Come on, let's drink to our child's godfather. Li Xiqing picked up a bottle and gulped it down. Lu Yihan felt his face was burning and sullenly took another bottle. Godfather, let's drink 2 bottles. After gulping down a bottle, Lu Yihan followed up with another. Xueqi was shocked and exclaimed, It's easy to get drunk like this. Lu Yihan looked at her, and his eyes softened. He whispered, It's okay. I can drink better than you think. Li Xiqing was furious, sneered inwardly and shouted, 2 more dozen. In less than half an hour, the 3 of them had drunk 6 dozen beers. In other words, it was 3 people. But in fact, the main force was Luo Zhan and Lu Yihan. After Li Xiqing drank 3 or 4 bottles, Su Qianxi ordered him to stop. He also found a perfect excuse to drive and stepped aside to watch the game with his wife in his arms. Luo Zhan and Lu Yihan's drinking capacity was not bad, but it was definitely not good. After drinking so much in a row, it was inevitable that they were a bit drunk and started to brag. Luo Zhan put one foot on the stool and pointed to the sky. Let me tell you, if I were in school, I would be loved by everyone. Look at my face, is it bad? Ugh. It's because I'm too demanding that I can't find a girlfriend now. And my 2 sisters-in-law even think that I'm gay. You motherfucker. Bullied me, doubted me, Lu Yihan leaned on the table and blushed. Come on, I haven't told her that when I was in school, I was chased all the way home. Qianqian knows. You can ask her. Su Qianxi chuckled. That's nothing. When Yihan was in school, he was already named the top hacker in our school forum. He's awesome. Tisk. Luo Zhan was dismissive. He looked up at the sky and said weakly, when I was in school, I was already an international hacker. Top hacker is nothing. Are you still not convinced? Lu Yihan looked contemptuous and got up from the table. Luo Zhan put his hands on the edge of the table and shouted, I'm not convinced. I'm Hacker Z. That's because I don't want to develop in that direction. Otherwise, do you think you're famous in the industry? Naive. Oh my. Luo Zhan slammed the bottle on the table and roared. It seems that you're deliberately going against me today? Bullshit, I can also. Lu Yihan said contemptuously. What's there to fight about? Li Xiqing said casually as he poured water for Su Qianxi. Just go and compete. Luo Zhan has several computers at home. Yes, go to my house. Compete. Luo Zhan got off the table and reached out to Lu Yihan. Let's go. You'll know after the competition. Do you dare? Chapter 4:15. Luo Zhan stumbled to Lu Yihan's side and put his arm around his back. Lu Yihan mocked mercilessly. You can't even stand properly. What's the point of competing? You can't stand properly. Obviously. You are swaying. Come on, let's go home and sleep after the competition. I'll beat you in a second. I'm telling you. I'll say it back to you. The 2 of them walked out with their arms around each other's shoulders, stumbling and smelling of alcohol. Su Qianxi looked at them worriedly and pushed Li Xiqing. You must be doing this on purpose. They are already drunk. Go check it out. There's nothing to see. It's just a competition. Li Xiqing did not care. Are you full? Go home? Su Qianxi stared at him and stood up to catch up with Luo Zhan and Lu Yihan. The 2 guys supported each other and had already walked out of the door. It was a bit cold outside, and Su Qianxi's coat was still left in the room. Su Qianxi shivered and looked out, finding that the 2 men had disappeared. Walking around, she found that the 2 of them had fallen in the grass, Lu Yihan on the bottom, and Luo Zhan on top. Yihan! Su Qianxi exclaimed and went to pull him up. Although Lu Yihan was drunk, he also recognized the voice. His eyes opened, he got up, shook his head, looked at Su Qianxi, and said with a smile, Qianqian, you are drunk. I'll take you home. No. Luo Zhan shouted and kicked Lu Yihan. We haven't even started yet, and you want to run away at the last minute? Coward. Lu Yihan was furious and kicked him back. Get up. Let's compete. I'm not afraid of you. Let's go. Su Qianxi grabbed Lu Yihan's hand and shouted, Yihan, stop it. Let's go home. No, Qianqian, you don't understand. This is a fight between men. Lu Yihan waved his hand. Yes, this is a fight between men. Luo Zhan got up and grabbed Lu Yihan. Don't run away. Let's go. Who the F***CK escaped? Let's go. Lu Yihan was dragged by him, and the 2 staggered toward the neighborhood where Luo Zhan was. Seeing that they were about to leave, she yelled, Li Xiqing. She did not respond and ran to the door of the porridge shop. Then she saw him slowly walking out and giving her a massage. Su Qianxi grabbed him and shouted anxiously, Hurry up, they are all gone. Li Xiqing glanced at the direction they were going and said nonchalantly, The direction is not wrong. We can go back. Xueqi was exasperated. If they are together, something bad will happen. What can happen to two men? Li Siqing pinched her cheek. Don't worry. They are both straight men. Xueqi nodded. Lu Yihan also liked Xueqi, and there was no doubt that he was straight. But Luo Zhan should also be straight, right? Xueqi heard that, glanced at him and said, I'm not worried about that. I'm just afraid that they are too drunk and will freeze on the street. Then we will know if we follow them. Li Siqing pinched her nose. I'll go get the car. Okay. Li Siqing quickly drove over and followed them. Xueqi saw them enter the neighborhood with her own eyes and calmed down. Mrs. Li, let's go home. Chapter 4:16. The two walked up with their arms around each other's shoulders, and Luo Zhan began to dig into his pockets. Lu Yihan waited for him to open the door, leaning against the cold wall with a splitting headache. After waiting for a long time, Luo Zhan still did not find the key. He stood there stunned. Lu Yihan was impatient and waved his hand. Can you do it or not? Take it out. Luo Zhan snorted and searched all the pockets. Strange, where is my key? Lu Yihan was annoyed. He pulled him and reached into his pockets. Ding! The elevator arrived. A girl came over with a bag, took out the key, and opened the door. Lu Yihan and Luo Zhan did not care. Lu Yihan started to search under Luo Zhan's shirt. He felt something hard, but Luo Zhan's trouser pocket was too tight for Lu Yihan to take it out. Hey, relax. I can't get out. The girl heard this and looked over. From her angle, she could clearly see the two of them overlapping. Luo Zhan shouted, Come out. I'm already very relaxed. Oh, it's going to break. Put your foot down. The girl's eyes lit up, but she quickly opened the door, walked in, and quietly hid at the door to watch. Finally, Lu Yihan took it out, and then there was the sound of a key. The girl blushed. Oh no, you are taking out the key. I thought you were taking out the bird. Then Lu Yihan inserted the key and the door opened. As soon as he opened the door, he smelled the traditional smell of an otaku. Clothes, socks, and scarves were all piled together on the sofa. Inside, there was a long row of desks with 3 computers in a row. There were takeout boxes in the trash can at the bottom. Looking up, there was a stack of instant noodles, including Master Kong, Uni President, and a few that Lu Yihan had never seen before, as well as all kinds of ham sausage instant noodle partners, and kimchi. This? Lu Yihan looked disgusted. Why does this look like a dog kennel? No, a dog kennel is much cleaner than this. Luo Zhan snorted, closed the door, and went into the bathroom. Lu Yihan took off his coat and sat on the sofa. Casually grabbing it, it was a used sock. This is... Lu Yihan's obsessive-compulsive disorder was acting up. His head was already hurting, and seeing this scene, he had a headache. He just sorted the pile of dirty clothes and socks, and then he heard Luo Zhan's voice. He shouted, Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Lu Yihan looked disdainful. Dog kennel. Luo Zhan also felt that his nest was like a dog's nest, but he didn't care at all. He turned on a computer, and all 3 screens were lit up. Then, Luo Zhan rummaged below, found a laptop, and threw it to him. Lu Yihan opened it and started typing. He was getting more and more dizzy and had a terrible headache. After turning it on, Luo Zhan couldn't stand it. It's so dirty. Lu Yihan complained, but when he smelled the vomit, he couldn't help but throw up. The two of them vomited together. Lu Yihan accidentally vomited on himself and took off his clothes in disgust. Luo Zhan was also disgusted. He stumbled to his feet and wiped his mouth with his sleeve. Let's go. I'll take you to a clean place. As she spoke, she took off her shirt, pulled Lu Yihan back to the room, and fell into her own bed. The room was much cleaner. Lu Yihan didn't mind and fell into his bed. The two of them, one horizontally and the other vertically, were sleeping soundly, completely unaware of what was happening. In the middle of the night, Lu Yihan was shivering from the cold. He hugged a stove and slept soundly. Death. Chapter 4:17. Seeing this, Luo Zhan snorted. There are clothes in the closet. Put one on and get out. Lu Yihan walked to his closet and opened it. There was a strong smell of rancidity. Lu Yihan was about to throw up. His first reaction was to close the closet door. Resisting the urge to beat him up, he gritted his teeth. Can't you live like a human being? Luo Zhan rolled his eyes at him. Wear it or not. I don't even want to wear my new clothes. There was no heating in the south, and it was raining outside. The temperature was only a few degrees. Lu Yihan shivered in the cold, jumped onto the bed, and pulled the quilt over him. Hey, what are you doing? Are you gay? Luo Zhan yelled. Lu Yihan was much stronger than him. Pulling the quilt over to him, he felt much more comfortable. Luo Zhan did not have anything on him. Leaning against Li Xiqing's cold body, he did not fight him, in case he froze to death and had to take legal responsibility. Pursing his lips, Luo Zhan reached out to open the cabinet on the bed and pulled out another quilt. Rolling the quilt, he walked down, opened the closet, and threw a few clothes at Lu Yihan. After Lu Yihan was comfortable, he picked up the clothes and saw the brand new tags on them. He couldn't help but laugh and said, "My goodness, such nice clothes, but you made them look like they were worn by a tramp. You don't want them? Give them back." Then he reached out to take them back. How could Lu Yihan give them back? He put the clothes on. However, they were a bit short. His pants were also a bit short. Lu Yihan stood up and purposely compared their heights. Lu Yihan was 185 centimeters tall, a little shorter than Li Xiqing, but he was definitely tall. However, Lu Yihan looked at him with disdain. Are you 1.7 meters tall? F***ck off. I'm 178 centimeters tall. Luo Zhan threw a punch at him. Lu Yihan dodged and said, "Jacket, it's freezing. I don't have a new jacket. An old one will do." Luo Zhan lay back down, waved his hand and said impatiently, "Outside. Take one and get out." Lu Yihan picked up the clothes and went out of the room. However, as soon as he stepped out of the door, he smelled an extremely unpleasant odor. Frowning deeply, Lu Yihan couldn't understand how such a person became a hacker. He couldn't even take care of himself. After walking around outside, Lu Yihan concluded a few points. 3 meals were taken out, clothes were washed at least once a week, toiletries were produced at the beginning of the year, and most of the bottles were still dusty. He could not look straight at her. Lu Yihan's headache worsened. Glancing at his clothes, he accepted his fate and started to pack up. After throwing the clothes into the washing machine, Lu Yihan began to clean up the living room. After working back and forth for more than 2 hours, the clothes had been washed 3 times, and the living room had been completely changed. Lu Yihan was very satisfied with his masterpiece. He opened the door and went in. Luo Zhan was sound asleep. She searched through his wardrobe, new, old, expensive, cheap. She didn't care if they were ruined or shrunk. She removed all the tags and threw them into the washing machine. After drying all the clothes, Lu Yihan left a note. "I will not return the clothes for the debt. You don't have to thank me too much." Luo Zhan slept until the afternoon. When he woke up, it was already past 3 o'clock. Seeing the note on the bedside table, Luo Zhan didn't care. He threw the note away and got up to go to the living room to find clothes to wear. He was surprised to find that the room was very clean, very clean. Luo Zhan couldn't imagine that his doghouse could be so clean. The pile of dirty clothes and socks were all gone, as well as the table, sofa, and floor. God, is this man really a man? What a good wife and mother. Luo Zhan sighed. A cold wind blew, making him shiver. Unable to find clothes in the living room, Luo Zhan turned back to the room and found that the wardrobe was also empty. Luo Zhan found that except for the big underpants on his body, he had nothing to wear. Chapter 4:18. It was colder this year than usual. Xueqi was learning how to make cakes from Lu Sa in the kitchen. Tomorrow was New Year's Eve, so she could keep the cakes for the ancestors. Qin Shuhua also came in to help. While teaching Xueqi, she also told her what to pay attention to during the new year. Xueqi listened and felt the atmosphere was harmonious. Song Yifan had just returned from London and immediately came to visit the old house. Hearing that Song Yifan was back, Xueqi happily told Qin Shuhua and ran to the living room. Seeing Song Yifan and Li Xiqing sitting face to face, she called, "Dad." Song Yifan's heart melted when he heard that. He waved at her and said, "Xueqi, I brought you a gift." Xueqi was even more surprised. She quickly walked up and sat next to him, looking forward to seeing him take out a gift bag. "Thank you, Dad." It was the first time Xueqi had received a gift from her father. She held it with joy and couldn't hide her smile. Li Xiqing was a bit jealous, but seeing her so happy, he did not say anything. He said slowly, "What did father-in-law Song bring for you? Don't you want to open it?" Xueqi did not let go of the gift and said, "I'll open it tonight." Song Yifan chuckled and rubbed her hair. "In a few days, do you want to go back to your hometown with me?" "Your hometown?" "Yes. Grandma is there. I told her about you, and she wants to see you." "Where is it?" "Dan City." "Wow, that's far." Xueqi blinked, her big eyes sparkling. She was a bit excited. "Do you want to drive there?" "Yes, it's about 3 hours." "Great." Xueqi happily agreed and looked at Li Xiqing. "Mr. Li, do you want to go?" "Okay." It was rare for Xueqi to be so interested, so how could Li Xiqing say no? Xueqi got Li Xiqing's approval and smiled even more happily. She asked Song Yifan, "Then why don't you spend the New Year here? Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Shall we go together after dinner?" "No thanks. I have to go back to spend the New Year with my parents. I will come pick you up on the second day of the New Year." "What?" She was a bit disappointed. "You have to come all the way here?" "No, I'll let him drive there. We'll use the navigation. Give me the address." "Well, it's more convenient this way." He waved at her. "Come here." "What?" Although Xueqi was asking, she had already walked over. He reached out and hugged her in his arms. "It's a bit cold. Hug my wife to warm your hands." She blushed and nudged him with her elbow. "Don't be serious. It's really cold. Feel my hand if you don't believe me." She touched it, and it was indeed a bit cold. She grabbed his hand and put it in her pocket. With a smile on his face, Li Xiqing held her tighter. Song Yifan did not know whether to laugh or cry. "In front of me, who has been single for 10,000 years, is it appropriate for you to act like this? You'll get used to it." Li Xiqing did not feel embarrassed at all. Xueqi blushed and felt a little embarrassed. Chapter 419. She blushed and stood up. "I'll walk you out. It's fine. Keep warm. It's cold outside, and the baby is afraid of the cold." Song Yifan waved his hand and walked out with his bag. After Song Yifan walked away, Li Xiqing could not help but start to grope her. Xueqi slapped his hand away and warned in a low voice, "We're still in the living room. Then let's go back to the bedroom." Li Xiqing stood up with her in his arms and carried her back to the bedroom despite her protests. Xueqi blushed, reached out and patted his back, shouting, "Stomach, stomach." He paused and felt a bit resentful. He reached out and opened the door. Entering the room, he locked the door behind him, then put her on the bed and kissed her hard on the face. Gritting his teeth, he whispered, "I shouldn't have let you get pregnant so early." Xueqi chuckled, put her arms around his neck, and kissed him on the lips. "Just wait a few more months." 2 months. 9 months. The baby is less than a month old. 2 months. Didn't you say the first 3 months and the last 3 months wouldn't work? He bit her. "Only 2 months left, Mrs. Li." Xueqi nodded. Xueqi blushed slightly and looked away. Li Xiqing put his arms around her and kissed her face, from her mouth to her neck. Although he was lying on top of her, he was very careful and did not push her belly. Xueqi pretended to be calm, but she could not keep it up after 2 minutes. She pushed him away and said, "No more kisses. No food. Not even a kiss?" He was very angry. "Mrs. Li, do you want me to starve to death?" Xueqi pushed his face away and said with contempt, "It's been so many years, and you still haven't starved to death. I used to be ignorant when I was young. Now that I've grown up, I know how to find food." Xueqi heard that and chuckled. She turned over and said, "I'm sleepy. You can go play by yourself. Li Xiqing was depressed. He had gotten himself into trouble, and the fire extinguisher had stopped working. What a tragedy. She took off her coat and found a place to lie down on the bed. Li Xiqing followed her and hugged her tightly under the blanket. In the beginning, he was still obedient. She was in a daze, and she felt his hands touching everywhere. Her breasts were pinched, and her body shivered. She slapped his hand back. Behave yourself. He stopped moving, but not long after, Xueqi felt that there was something rubbing against her behind. It moved a little and seemed to be getting more and more intense. Oh, you are so annoying. She was annoyed and turned around. I am sleepy, really sleepy. Sensing that she was really unhappy, Li Xiqing said sullenly, You sleep. I won't touch you. Xueqi was speechless. If he didn't touch her, it would be even worse than if he did. Li Xiqing hugged her and kissed her on the cheek. I was wrong. Don't be angry. Close your eyes. Xueqi was not sleepy anymore. She reached down and gently pinched him. Ouch! He gasped and looked at her. She was lying with her eyes closed, but her hands were moving, touching him softly. He pressed her hand down, and her face became redder and redder. Pretending to be fierce, she said, Just this once. Chapter 4:20. Xueqi blushed even more. Unbuttoning his shirt, she reached inside. Li Xiqing put her hand in and guided her. Xueqi closed her eyes and blushed the whole time. At the last moment, someone knocked on the door. Xueqi wanted to take her hand back but was stopped by Li Xiqing. Just a little bit more. Li Xiqing felt a bit uncomfortable, holding her hand. With a low growl, Li Xiqing wiped himself with a tissue and went to open the door. However, it was someone he had expected. Xueqi also got up and looked out. Standing in front of their door was a young man who looked about 24 or 25 years old. He had long hair, red lips, white teeth, and bronze skin, looking healthy and strong. Looking at his facial features, he was somewhat similar to Li Xiqing, but Li Xiqing looked more cold and reserved, while this man looked a bit dangerous and fierce, arrogant and domineering. He was very tall and looked a little taller than Li Xiqing, but his body looked much stronger than Li Xiqing. In such a cold winter, he was only wearing a tight black vest, which outlined his healthy and strong biceps, which made Li Xiqing's eyes twinkle. When the young man saw Li Xiqing, he whistled. Long time no see, brother. Xueqi walked over and saw the man. Her eyes lit up and she said, Brother-in-law. Sister-in-law is so beautiful. Li Jinan curled his lips. It was not a big smile, but it was very eye-catching. It was the first time that Xueqi had been complimented by a man of his age. She blushed and said, Thank you. Li Xiqing felt a sense of crisis. He pushed his brother away and slammed the door. Xueqi blinked and looked at him in confusion. He grabbed her arms and whispered, Don't be seduced by my brother. Although he is handsome, he is very dangerous. Xueqi smiled and said helplessly, He is your brother. However, Li Jinan was indeed very dangerous. Captain Li's generation was a general, and Li Xiqing and Li Jinan's generation was the third generation of the military. Except for Li Xiqing, the three brothers of the Li family had all joined the army. However, Li Beixing was a true lieutenant colonel. As for Li Jinan, it wasn't easy for him to obtain a few military merits in Xinjiang and become a major, but he had to retire at the most critical moment. In her past life, Li Jinan had probably informed his family about his retirement around the same time. There was no way of knowing what Li Jinan did after that. He would only return home twice a year, but the things he did were definitely not good things that could be seen by others. Li Jinan was given the cold shoulder and rubbed his nose. Qin Shuhua walked out. When she saw Li Jinan, she was overjoyed. Jinan, when did you get back? Li Jinan smiled and called out, Mom, did you miss me? Qin Shuhua was overjoyed. She looked up and down and said, Wow, you've lost weight, but you seem to have grown taller. Was it tiring in Xinjiang? I'm not tired. Li Jinan put his hands in his trouser pockets and looked at the door of his second brother's room. It seems that second brother has a good relationship with second sister-in-law. Chapter 4:21. I'm not cold. Li Jinnan hugged Qin Shuhua. Where is Grandpa? He's in the room. Let's go see your father. Qin Shuhua took Li Jinnan's hand and was about to leave when Li Xiqing's door was opened again. Seeing him come out, Li Jinnan was not in a hurry to see Grandpa. He stopped and said, "Brother, the same place." Li Xiqing squinted, walked in front of him and said, "Let's go." Xueqi walked out and saw the brothers leaving one after the other. Looking at Qin Shuhua, she asked, "Mom, where are they going?" "Who knows? These two always have secrets. Ah, they've grown up." Qin Shuhua sighed and then seemed to think of something. Waving at Xueqi, she said, "Look at the children's clothes your aunt sent from abroad. I'll give them to you." That's too soon. Not soon. We have to ask your grandpa to give the child a name. Xueqi was a bit embarrassed. How old is he? It's not even a month. It's better to be prepared. Come on. Li Jinnan threw a cigarette to Li Xiqing, lit it, and took a drag. Li Xiqing looked at him with a complicated look. Have you decided? Yes. It's not easy to be where you are now. Have you thought about it? I have submitted the application. Li Jinnan let out a long puff of smoke. There is no turning back. Li Xiqing sneered and hit him on the shoulder. Dad will break your legs. Fine, I'll just give up my legs. Li Jinnan grinned, bright but playful. I still have you. At most, I'll be punished and stay in the hospital for a few days, and everything will be fine. The punishment will hurt a lot. Li Xiqing let out a breath. Think about it yourself, but it's really a pity. You've already made it this far. How many people can't reach this level in their lifetime? When Li Jinnan heard that, he knew that Li Xiqing approved of his way of doing things. He took his hand away with a smile and flicked the ash off his cigarette. This kind of life is boring. It's not what I want. You want to explore the world. Do you want to explore the world? I haven't decided yet. I'll see when the time comes. Anyway, I'm not going back to the army. It's boring. Li Xiqing patted him on the shoulder with sympathy and admiration. Then think about how to tell Grandpa and Dad. We'll talk about it after the new year. Let's enjoy the next few days first. Li Jinnan's lips curled up. He was as ruffian as ever. He reached out and hammered him. I'll take you to a party tomorrow night. I guarantee it'll be fresh and exciting. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Stay at home and accompany Grandpa. You won't be home for many days. No, I have to go tomorrow. You go too. I want to accompany your sister-in-law. Bring sister-in-law along. Li Xiqing glanced at him and asked, What game? A bet. Li Jinnan's voice lowered. I don't have any money. Li Xiqing was speechless. That was what she was planning. Turning around, Li Xiqing decided to ignore him. Back inside, Lu Sa was already preparing dinner. Qin Shuhua and Xueqi were sitting on the sofa, playing with a lot of things. There were children's clothes and toys. Li Jinnan smiled wickedly. Mom, didn't sister-in-law just get pregnant? You are too impatient. Chapter 422. Li Jinnan was despised and immediately shut up. Li Beixing soon arrived home. The three brothers chatted and soon sat at the table together. Captain Li was very happy inside. It's been a long time since we got together. It's so comfortable. The three of you, when you were little, I had hoped that you would be successful. Now, all of you are successful, and the most successful is Xiqing. You even have a baby. Ha ha ha, Qian, did the doctor say when you are due? Xueqi was embarrassed. Ahem, Grandpa, not so soon. The old man laughed heartily, and the others also laughed happily. After dinner, Xueqi took a shower and went to bed. Pregnant women were sleepy, and she did not take a nap today, so she quickly fell asleep. Early the next morning, the sound of firecrackers could be heard everywhere. People were worshipping their ancestors everywhere. Xueqi was taken by Qin Shuhua to worship the ancestors and see all kinds of ants. After the whole day, her face was stiff from smiling. After returning home in the afternoon, Xueqi took off her shoes and fell asleep on the bed. Lu Sa had gone home for the new year, so they had to do everything themselves. Xueqi originally wanted to sleep for a while and then get up to help, but she accidentally overslept. When she woke up, Qin Shuhua had already finished and prepared the dinner. Su Qianxi blushed and explained a lot to Qin Shuhua. Originally, she thought that Qin Shuhua would dislike her for being lazy, but unexpectedly, Qin Shuhua smiled and said, "It's okay. Pregnant women are sleepy. You are also tired today." Qin Shuhua's change was so big that Su Qianxi was a bit unprepared. She quickly helped set the table. When the family was eating happily, the elders gave everyone red envelopes, and everyone gave red envelopes to the elders. One after another, Grandpa was very happy. After dinner, Li Jinnan was a bit excited. He caught Su Qianxi and said, "Sister-in-law, do you want to go play with me?" Su Qianxi was surprised. Su Qianxi was a bit surprised. In her previous lifetime, Li Jinnan had never said a word to her, let alone asked her out. Subconsciously, Su Qianxi looked at Li Xiqing. Li Xiqing looked at Li Jinnan with some displeasure and said, "Go away. Second brother, second sister-in-law hasn't been there either, right? I'll take her out to play and see the world." "What are you going to do?" Su Qianxi was bored at home, eating, sleeping, and visiting relatives all day. Li Jinnan was a very playful person. If he said it was fun, it must be very fun. "To the casino." Hearing that, Su Qianxi's eyes lit up. Li Xiqing cursed inwardly and said in a low voice, "The casino is full of good and bad people. There's nothing fun here." "Second brother, that's not right. Didn't you often go to the casino to play? Don't tell me you have an old lover in the casino and don't want to bring sister-in-law there?" Li Xiqing said, "Your plan is too obvious." She smiled and took his hand. "I want to go. I haven't been to that kind of place yet." In other words, she had never been there in this lifetime. In her previous lifetime, she was lucky enough to be coaxed there twice by Tang Menjing. It was really fun inside. Hearing Li Jinnan's proposal, Su Qianxi also felt a bit itchy. Li Xiqing stared at Li Jinnan, but under Su Qianxi's eager and begging eyes, he had no choice. "Okay." However, no one could have imagined that such an accident would happen. Death. Chapter 423. Star City was the most mysterious large entertainment venue in Kingstown. It was a combination of casino, entertainment, leisure, fitness, trading, and catering. The consumption level was far beyond ordinary people's expectations. Every person who entered this place was either rich or powerful, and there were also many beautiful women who spared no expense to come up and catch up. A coquettish and high-profile Bugatti stopped at the entrance. Many people who were squatting at the entrance looked over, especially when they saw a tall and strong young man coming down from the driver's seat. He was dressed in black, and his tight vest showed off his healthy and taut lines. He was wearing a thin black leather jacket, and he looked very handsome and ruffian. Those people's eyes lit up, and they were like wolves and tigers. The doorman came up, and the tall man threw the key in his hand and turned to look at the door of the back seat. The man who walked out from behind was wearing a long dark gray coat with a high collar and a light gray cashmere sweater. He was tall and straight, and his eyes were cold and distant. His facial lines were tough, and he was reserved and steady. He looked more mature than the others. He stepped out, causing many people to exclaim, "Li Xiqing!" Li Xiqing glanced at the magnificent gate, ignoring the flirtatious eyes of the beautiful women, turned around, and reached out to the back. A slender and petite figure came down. Su Qianxi's eyes were shining, looking at the gate of Star City with excitement. The Bugatti was driven away by the doorman, and Li Jinnan stepped in first. It was not the first time that Su Qianxi came to Star City, but every time she came, she felt a little excited. She skipped in excitedly, but she was hugged by Li Xiqing after 2 steps. "You're a mother now. Be careful." Su Qianxi pouted slightly and gave him a stare. However, this did not affect her good mood. Looking left and right, especially when she saw those big breasts and white legs, she subconsciously compared them with herself and couldn't help but cover her chest with her hand. Li Xiqing couldn't help but laugh and did not say anything, looking forward. Seeing Li Jinnan walking further and further away, Li Xiqing also quickened his pace and called, "Jinnan, wait a minute." The casino was on the 6th floor. When they took the elevator up, they heard the noise as soon as the elevator door opened. One by one, the sexy bunny girls held the trays in their hands up to their ears, twisting their waists in an enchanting manner. Seeing such a tall and handsome man like Li Jinnan, she winked at him and handed him a glass of champagne. Li Jinnan took it, and the unseriousness on his face disappeared. He smiled slightly and acted like a proper gentleman. Xueqi also took a glass, but Li Xiqing took it away and replaced it with water. Fine, she wouldn't drink. She wasn't a big drinker anyway. After exchanging 10 million chips with Li Jinnan, Xueqi only got 100,000. Depressed, she took Li Xiqing to the side to bet big or small, but Li Xiqing was a little absent-minded. Xueqi bet big, and before the pot was opened, Li Xiqing said, "You play for a while. I'll go see Jinnan." "Okay, go ahead." Xueqi waved her hand and shouted with the people next to her, "Big, big, big!" Chapter 424. Li Jinnan and the man's gambling game was set in a splendid room. As soon as he entered the room, he saw a few men smoking, drinking, and chatting. When they saw Li Jinnan come in, a few people turned around. One of them was the most arrogant. He wore a big gold chain around his neck and a cigar as thick as a finger in his mouth. He was wearing a thick raccoon fur coat. He sneered and said, "I say, boy, you really dare to come alone?" Li Jinnan did not say a word, poured all the chips on the table, and finally threw the box with the chips. He looked sullen and said, "Cut the crap. Where is it?" "Kiske, what's the hurry? I've already said that the market price of that thing is 50 million, but I don't care about money. As long as you can beat me at the gambling table, that thing is yours. But why did you exchange so many chips?" As he spoke, he stuck his head out and looked. There are millions here? It's still far from 50 million, right?" Li Jinnan looked even more sullen and slammed the table. "The market price of that thing is at most 20 million. Are you King kidding me? If I say 50 million, then it is 50 million. The big man spat out a thick cloud of smoke and spread his hands. "Don't take it if you have the guts. Take your chips and get the hell out of here." "Ha!" Li Jinnan was disdainful. "What do you want to bet?" "5 card stud." "What if I win and you don't want to admit it?" Li Jinnan looked sullen. Old Jean, am also a reputable person. I won't go back on my word. Otherwise, who in the underworld would play with me? Don't you think so, boy?" That was true, but Li Jinnan had to be careful of Lao Jin because he was too insidious and cunning. Fortunately, he had a backup plan. "I met old Madame Jean once some time ago." A cold and steady voice came from outside. Everyone looked towards the door. A steady and tall figure appeared in front of everyone. He walked in slowly and said in a calm voice, "The old lady is in good health. She has always praised her son for being sensible and considerate. Tell me, if I tell her what you said, will she believe me?" "Li Xiqing?" Lao Jin obviously recognized him. Although this guy was not in their circle, Li Xiqing had been so famous recently that all the people in the legal circles had to give him face. Old Jin's mother, Mrs. Jin, was one of the well-known old artists in the country. Unfortunately, her health was getting worse and worse, so she didn't meet people easily. Some time ago, she had painted a jade sculpture for Li Xiqing, which showed how influential Li Xiqing was. Even Lao Jin had a whole new level of respect for this kid. Seeing Li Xiqing here at this moment was far beyond his expectation. Li Xiqing nodded. "It's me. I don't know what Mr. Jin has against my brother. Why don't we solve it together?" "This is your brother?" Lao Jin sneered. "No wonder you are so bold and generous. It turns out that you are Li Xiqing's brother." Li Jinnan's expression changed slightly, and he warned, "Don't talk nonsense." "What? You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it? When you came with that girl to bully my little lover a few days ago, you were not so cowardly. You threw millions at me. You were so rich. What happened now? You don't even dare to say a word in front of your brother?" Chapter 425. I'll explain it to you later. Anyway, it's not my fault. This guy took the jade that Grandpa gave me and refused to give it back. Li Xiqing's face darkened. Grandma went away and looked away. If I knew he was so shameless, I wouldn't have worn it. Li Xiqing wanted to strangle him. He had been eyeing the blood jade for a long time. Grandpa was unwilling to give it to him, but it was given to Li Jinnan. This guy actually lost it. Seeing Li Xiqing's unkind face, Li Jinnan felt even more guilty. I'll count to 3. If you don't want to play, then leave. I don't have time to watch you brothers fight.
Lao Jin waved his hand.
3, 2, 1. I'll bet with you. Li Xiqing sat down. What do you want to play?
Great.
Lao Jin smiled and sat down across from him. 5-card stud. In the beginning, Xueqi bet 500 yuan at a time. However, every time she bet, she could win it back. Therefore the bet became bigger and bigger. In the end, Xueqi had bet 100,000 yuan. Many people stared at the pile of chips in front of Xueqi, dazed. After playing for more than 2 hours, she had not lost even once. Feeling a bit bored, she sighed. Can't you let me lose once? Someone next to her glared at her and said unkindly, Young man, you will be easily beaten like this. I'm telling you. Xueqi smiled and put away all the chips, turning around to play baccarat again. When she first came to baccarat, she took a small basket. However, after a dozen rounds, she changed the small basket to a big one, which was a bit too heavy to play. Many people stared at her. Feeling a bit creeped out, Xueqi took the big basket and went to play something else. A short man came up, stared at the chips in Xueqi's basket and said, Little girl, you're lucky. What do you want to play next? I'm not playing anymore. I'm going to find my husband. Xueqi did not want to talk to him at all. She had a strong feeling that he was a liar. However, the short man did not give up and kept talking to her. Do you want to try 5-card stud? It's fun. Come here. I won't. Let me teach you. Come here, don't be afraid. But I don't know how.
She stopped and was a bit impatient.
Go find someone else to play. I don't like that. How about playing Pai Gao? No. Then you should know how to roll dice, right? She gave him a strange look and called Li Xiqing. When that person saw this, his expression changed. If you don't want to play, then don't play. Why did you call me pretentious? Xueqi was furious and said, Damn idiot. That person was also angry. Why are you still scolding people? Where's your manners? The call was connected, and Xueqi was furious. You scolded me first. Where are your manners? Li Xiqing heard it clearly on the phone. He asked in a low voice, What's going on? Hubby, someone is pestering me and won't let me go.
The man pursed his lips and left.
Where are you? I'll have Jinnan pick you up. Li Xiqing's voice was a bit deep. Chapter 426. Xueqi nodded. Her bad mood was immediately lifted. Yes, I haven't lost a single game tonight. Then don't you know how to exchange these small chips for large chips? It's easy to be targeted if you carry so many.
As he spoke, he had already taken the basket and brought her into the private room.
It had to be said that Lao Jin was indeed capable of making a fortune through gambling. In just 3 hours, Li Xiqing had lost more than 20 million. It was already 10 p.m., and he had to take Xueqi back to bed. Li Xiqing was a bit restless.
He was at the table, but his heart had flown out.
Seeing Xueqi come in, Li Xiqing finally calmed down a bit and waved at her. Come here. Xueqi came over, saw the chips on the table, and then looked at the chips in her basket, which probably added up to less than 5 million. She asked, What are you playing? It seems like it's a big game. 5-card stud. Do you know how to play?
Li Xiqing took her hand and calmed down.
Yes. Xueqi rubbed her hands, looking pleasantly surprised. You play for me. Li Xiqing stood up and pressed her down. Li Xiqing's luck was not good, really bad. Hey! Lao Jin was not happy. Is it appropriate for you to play with a woman? It's my money. Why do you care? Li Xiqing glanced at him coldly.
Lao Jin arched an eyebrow and spread out his hands.
No problem. Since a woman is playing, I have to be a gentleman. In the next game, no matter what the cards are, I will let you speak first. Oh, okay.
Xueqi put her hand on the table and slapped her fingers excitedly. Let's play. Lao Jin looked at Xueqi and felt she was like a child. Li Xiqing was such a mature man, but why did his wife look so young? However, Lao Jin was not a gossipy person. He waved his hand, and the dealer next to him had opened a new deck and sent out the cards one by one. Xueqi had an 8 of hearts, and Lao Jin had a king of spades. Her cards were more than a little small. The woman looked at her hand and said, "You said it. I spoke first, so I'll raise 500,000 first." The subordinates behind Lao Jin laughed. Lao Jin laughed the happiest and said, "You may not know the rules. Every time you raise, you must raise at least 1 million. Oh, 5 million then." The smile on Lao Jin's face disappeared and he subconsciously looked at her expression. Xueqi still had a smile on her face, as if nothing had changed. Old Jin looked at his trump card. Follow. Then the dealer dealt the cards again. Xueqi added more and more chips each time. In the end, the chips on the table were piled high, and both sides had bet 30 million. Xueqi's cards were 8, 9, 10, and J, a flush. Lao Jin's cards were 3 kings and a queen of diamonds. With a smile she looked up and asked, "Honey, how many chips do we have left?" From the beginning to the end, Li Xiqing did not look at her hand. Hearing this, his eyes softened and he said, "I still have more than 20 million. Oh, can I buy all of them?" "Of course." Li Jinan was overjoyed. "Sister-in-law, is it a straight flush?" "That's awesome." Xueqi waved her hand. "I was just lucky. Then I will buy all of them." "What about you, Mr. Jin?" Lao Jin's expression changed. Seeing the proud smile on Xueqi's face, he began to calculate. Chapter 427. However, the chance of a straight flush was too low. Was this woman really that lucky? Old Jin was a little bewildered, but he stared at the woman who was smiling brightly. After a while, he closed all the cards and said with certainty, "I'm not calling." Xueqi suddenly laughed and took Li Xiqing's hand. "Mr. Li, he's not calling." Then she revealed her card, which was an ace of spades. When such a card was thrown out, everyone's eyes widened in shock. Li Xiqing looked at the card for a while and chuckled. Lao Jin suddenly stood up from his chair and slammed the table. "Are you King kidding me?" Xueqi blinked and laughed. "That's so funny. It's just a game of cards. Why are you so angry? You know, this is a casino. You're stupid, and you're blaming me?" Li Jinan could not help laughing and gave her a thumbs up. "You're amazing, my sister-in-law. You won back all my brother's losses in one game." Xueqi heard that and looked up at Li Xiqing. "How much did you lose?" "More than 2,000. Li Xiqing rubbed her head. "Shall we continue?" "Of course." Xueqi did not dare to say anything else, but once she was in a casino, her luck was always very good. "Shall we continue, Mr. Jin?" Lao Jin snorted. "Continue." However, after a few rounds, Old Jin lost miserably. What made him even angrier was that he had been tricked by Xueqi in the same way. After a while, Xueqi had won more than 50 million. Including what Li Xiqing had lost at the beginning, she had more than 20 million left. However, it was not enough. Li Jinan had just told her what had happened, which made her a bit angry. She puffed up her cheeks and continued. 36 million. "Mr. Jin, are you in or not?" Xueqi smiled and looked at him calmly, tapping on the table with her fingers. That look and that expression were exactly the same as Li Xiqing's. Li Jinan saw it, and so did Li Xiqing. Curling his lips in satisfaction, he looked at the hesitant Lao Jin. Old Jin's reputation was not small at all. There were 4 A's, but Xueqi was not scared at all. What made Lao Jin even more confused was that Xueqi's hand was a flush. K, Q, J, 9. All of them were spades. If the woman's trump card was the 10 of spades, she would win if she managed to put the deck into a straight flush. But as long as that card wasn't the 10 of spades, she would definitely lose. Seeing her proud expression, Lao Jin's forehead was covered with sweat. It had been a few times, and he had been deceived by her well-endowed appearance. He was able to beat Li Xiqing by so much just now because Li Xiqing was unlucky.
Coupled with some psychological tactics, Li Xiqing lost badly. However, this woman was not only lucky, but her luck was also heaven-defying. She was even good at psychological warfare. What to do? Boss, don't be fooled again. This woman is too despicable. Lao Jin thought so too. However, what if? Seeing his hesitation, Xueqi said impatiently, I'm so sleepy. Are we playing or not? If not, I'm going home. Lao Jin was frustrated. It was the first time in his life that he had been despised by a little girl. If people knew about it, they would laugh their heads off. After hesitating for a long time, he finally pushed his chips forward. I'm in. I don't believe you really have a straight flush. It was the last game, and the winner would be decided in one game. Xueqi glanced at him and said, Are you sure? Don't regret it. Chapter 428. Xueqi looked at him sympathetically and revealed her card. Li Jinan almost jumped up. Even Li Xiqing couldn't help but grin, rub her hair and whisper, Well done. Lao Jin stood up and looked at her card. When he saw the 10 spades on it, he became short of breath and angry. F***CK. He sat back in his chair, his chest heaving up and down. He waved his hand in defiance. Again. I'm done. Xueqi yawned and leaned back in the chair. I'm so sleepy. Give it back to us, and we will go home to sleep. You want to leave after winning the money? Lao Jin's face darkened. Xueqi heard that and retorted, If you don't leave after winning the money, do you want to leave after losing the money? Look at the time now. If you don't sleep, others will have to. Besides, I am pregnant now. If the baby in my belly does not get enough sleep, can you be responsible? How can you be so shameless? You said you would return the money after winning. Are you trying to be shameless now? Seeing her like this, Li Xiqing seemed to see the unruly and capricious Xueqi when they were not married. However, she used to be like this to her own people. Now it felt quite good. Lao Jin was speechless after hearing her words. Li Jinan stared at him coldly. He put his hand into his leather coat and took out a cold black metal. He gently rubbed it and warned, I'm also doing a good deal with you. Don't force me. Lao Jin's men saw this and became worried. They whispered, What should we do? Do we really have to give the jade back to them? Seeing the gun, Lao Jin's face darkened. I said I won't give it back. What do you mean? Then give it back. Cut the crap. Li Jinan reached out and looked unfriendly. Lao Jin took a deep breath, stretched out his hand, and took the blood jade from behind the fur coat, and threw it in Li Jinan's direction. Shocked, Li Jinan quickly caught it and checked it carefully. Seeing that it was intact, he let out a sigh of relief. Let's go, Li Xiqing whispered. Li Jinan nodded. Walk in front with sister-in-law. Is he afraid of a surprise attack? Old Jin scoffed in disdain. I'm not that despicable. Li Jinan chuckled and said, Are you thinking too much? I just want to stay and take the rest of the money. Don't you want 50 million? Quickly count 50 million, and the rest is ours. Old Jin's expression became even more unsightly. He gave the order, and his subordinate stepped forward. She yawned and checked the time. It was almost 11 p.m. No wonder she was so sleepy. He took her downstairs and asked the doorman to fetch the car and park it at the door. However, the two of them waited in the car for 10 minutes, and there was no sign of him coming down. Xueqi was a little worried and said, Go and have a look. Why hasn't Uncle come down yet? Okay, wait for me in the car. He kissed her on the cheek, opened the door and walked out. After a few minutes, Xueqi could not sit still anymore. She knew that Lao Jin was not a good guy. What if something happened to him? She picked up the phone and called Li Xiqing, only to find that his cell phone had been turned off. It was probably out of battery, and she did not save Li Jinan's number. Chapter 429. As soon as she stepped on the steps, she heard a shout inside. A figure ran out like a fly, wearing a cap on his head and a big mask on his face, only revealing a pair of eyes. When the figure saw Xueqi, he paused for a moment, but then quickly ran forward. However, things did not go as he wished. Before he ran 2 steps, he saw people surrounding him. There were about 7 or 8 men in casual clothes, holding guns in their hands, shouting, "Don't move, police!" The man took a step back, but he was surrounded by plainclothes policemen all around him. The people at the door fled in all directions, for fear of being involved. Xueqi was no exception. However, among the people around him, he was the closest to him. Before he could run out, he heard the sound of wind behind him. His hand was grabbed, and he was pulled over. Xueqi screamed, her voice sharp and frightened. "Don't touch me. Let go." A sharp fruit knife was in front of her. Xueqi was grabbed by the neck, and her first reaction was to struggle. "Don't move." The voice was muffled because of the mask, and it sounded like he was panting after running. However, somehow, Xueqi felt that it was somewhat familiar. "The knife has no eyes. Cooperate with me, and I will not hurt you." The voice was very low, and only the 2 of them could hear it. Xueqi behaved, but her heart still couldn't help racing. Biting her lower lip, Xueqi felt that her body was trembling with fear. "Get out of here. If you don't come over, I will die with her." The man roared. Li Xiqing and Li Jinnan came out from inside and heard the movement here. Li Xiqing suddenly had a bad feeling and strode forward. Seeing his wife being held, he was so scared that his heart almost stopped. His face slightly pale, he took a step forward, but his voice was unusually calm. "Don't be impulsive. She is my wife. I am Li Xiqing. You should know me." The gangster glanced at Li Xiqing, and his eyes fell on Li Jinnan behind him. Without saying anything, he tightened his grip on Xueqi, took a step back and shouted, "Ask them to go away and let me go. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I will do." Li Xiqing's face was a little pale, and even his breathing was a little disordered. However, his eyes were terrifyingly calm. He said, "Okay, listen. She is pregnant now and can't take any risks. If anything happens to her or the child, I, Li Xiqing, definitely have the ability to take your life." The gangster sneered. "Of course I believe you. Who doesn't know Li Xiqing? But I'm not the one holding your wife hostage. It's the police. Get them out of the way." "Did you hear that? Get out of the way," Li Xiqing growled. "Let him go. Get out of the way," a leading officer shouted. "We must ensure the safety of the hostages." Those policemen had already silently retreated. One of the policewomen somewhat unwillingly clenched her teeth. "This guy has already gone to the SI to trade drugs more than once or twice. With great difficulty, we finally caught him with the goods." However, before she finished speaking, she saw Li Xiqing's sharp and dangerous look, and all her words were swallowed. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.